Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm McCready. Joining me is not Whippet because he's actually dead. Now, Whippet has rejoined, and welcome back to the Badass University All-Star Season 2. Now, a very exciting week, Whippet, because the league play, well, it's essentially done. But there's still seeding for the playoffs that has to get done, and there's only one way to do it, isn't there?
Yeah, well, right. Our top four are locked in for playoffs. That meaning, nothing can change. Only the positioning for seeding. And, well, it's not the most important thing, but I'm sure teams want to get as
Hmm.
high as or as much of a seeding as they want, or as much in an advanced seeding, so they can have that playoffs be a little bit easier. We can put our standings up to kind of visualize exactly how things are looking at this stage of the season. So of course, our top four teams locked in. These teams are guaranteed going to your playoffs. It's Princesses, Imperium of Mandem, Lockdown Ludens, and Team Trident. Everyone below, down from 5th to 10th, they can no longer make it. It is just for pride they'll be battling for across our final play days. But seeding for these top four is going to be important. Who can get that advantage? Princesses are still looking strong, and Imperium of Mandem could grab that first place position. Of course, only on 19 points. One required the draw, two required to take that lead. So, an interesting format and everything down below. Hopefully, just because there's nothing to play for these teams down there, the morale is still high and we get some interesting action for tonight's games.
Yes, well, I've got to say it right now before we do get into the schedule of the evening that, well, the Minutemen, they forfeit their game against Coconut Crank. So, the Wooden Spoon game, unfortunately, Whippet is not going to be taking place. We're only going to have two today. But still, these games, they're actually quite important. If you do take a look at this schedule, you'll see exactly what they are. Now, very exciting stuff on the way. The first game, that's going to be Lockdown Ludens versus Froggers. So, Ludens wanting to make sure their position is going to be pretty damn good. Princesses versus Chimbunters. Well, with this game, the Princesses, they want to lock in that top spot. Like you said, Imperial Mandem, they're snipping on the heels. Princesses, this is an opportunity to stay ahead.
Yeah, and then of course our final game is going to be that cancellation. So this is going to be a big one. Lockdown Ludens versus Froggers again. Ludens in your top four. The Froggers haven't made that spot. They're playing for pride at this point. But if I'm in the shoes of a team that hasn't made it into our playoff positions, bit of pride, a bit of morale you can take away from it is perhaps being able to throw a spanner in the works of the seeding chances of this final playday. So, Froggers, they got something to play for.
Just just ruin everything. Why not whip it? It's gotta be done. Now, the big thing that we need to look at heading into this game is, well, simply put the map, because if this plays out properly for Lockdown Ludens, we could see a quick game. If we see, say, a coastline, because that's been one of their very quintessential maps. Clubhouse has definitely been there as well, so the map bans are really going to play into it quite heavily. The princesses, I feel like they're going to have a little bit more of an easier time. They're going to be a lot more comfortable because, well, they know they're at the very top. They know they have that wide variety of maps they can bring to the front, and honestly, I'm really looking forward to getting into this. But, we're just gonna wait a little bit. We are waiting for players to get into. So, we might have to have a bit of waffling. So I've got to ask, how's your day been?
Oh, it's
How
it's
are you,
it's
mate?
been tremendous. You've been here. We've been in calls for a good chunk of it. Played some 10 months,
Mm.
lost my flawless
I,
record in
I
ten
didn't get
months.
in. I
Yeah,
didn't get
well,
in.
yeah, well, that's because listen. We intentionally made it go all the way max OT round 15, so you couldn't play before broadcast. It was all my master plan. Unfortunately, yeah, I did lose my flawless record, Creedy. Not
Yeah,
happy with
well,
that one. Not happy.
silver linings. Anyway, the game that we are going to be getting into, Ludens and I believe the Froggers. Yes, let's bring up the rosters. Let's see exactly what teams are going to be coming in front now. Look down, Ludens, very, very influential, very, very knowable. Proctor, Benji, Giobu, Gady, and KK, they've been that quintessential lockdown Ludens roster, the only one to stick by, a staple of the Badass University All-Stars, I think I'm going to describe them as. On the flip side, though, Froggers, they haven't had the best time, but they haven't had the worst either. They've been a mid-table team, and that's been reversed flow. Volcanoid, Yukio, and Murph. They've just never really had what they needed to just push them over the edge and start breaking into that top four position. And then it also, it goes on to talk about the quality of the other teams. Ludens, Imperial Mandem, Triton, Princesses, your playoff teams. They have to be much, much better. And if they're able to shut things down, on teams like Froggers, well, it says a lot.
Mm-hmm. One thing you mentioned though is that Froggers have kind of been that mid-table team for a while. They've often
Hmm.
shown sparks and moments where you think that this could be the catalyst to really push them forward and really kind of they can keep that pace going. But they've never been
Hmm.
able to, I think, keep playing at that consistent level that they showed they're capable of. And somewhat unfortunately, couldn't make that top four. But then again, they could throw the spanner in the work. They could do the most joyous thing inside of competitive siege and ruin someone else's time. So Lockdown Ludens have to be on edge for that one. Have to be looking out because just because you're guaranteed and safe doesn't mean your opposition won't try and get an upset victory against you. So,
Hmm.
those are the players for me. That's the teams we have, and we have our map veto for you. So, I haven't spoiled myself yet. I haven't read where we're going, so this is
Me
going to be
neither.
brand new for me. Oregon Clubhouse, waving goodbye via our autobahn. Love to see it. Coastline and Villa next to go, and you know what
It's
I'm hearing.
consulate.
Oh,
It's
it better
consulate.
not. It
It's
better not.
100% consulate. Now, Chalet, Villa isn't on the map, so you've got to look at it. Chalet, maybe
Give me
that's what's
Chalet.
going to be coming up. But consulate's also there.
Oh,
It's a chalet. It's not consulate. Froggers, you let me down, man. Come on. But they're not letting you down, Whip It, are they? Chalet, it's a map that you absolutely love, isn't it?
I absolutely love this map to death. The pacing on Chalet is some of the quickest, some of the most intense. It's one of the best maps, or best additions to our competitive map pool in years,
Hmm.
almost since Villa, I would say. It's such a unique design. There's lots of opportunities, and even though we've seen it, it's still the least played map at SI currently. It has had such an impact. There have been great results, and it being now played at SI, that pinnacle of T1, you're going to see it develop tenfold over the course of the next playoff stages coming this week. And I wonder if any of these teams have taken some of the lessons learned from SI groups and are going to put some of those strategies in place for this. But Chalet, 10 out of 10,
I
almost perfect map in my eyes.
I want to see the DZ approach of, well, you've got a couple of rounds on the defense. It's time to bring Mint on Blitz. That's the way, that's the strat. Just win it from there, which if you've been watching the SI, you realize they didn't. They didn't win.
Sag.
G2 took it all OT, but still, it's perfectly fine. Chalet, it's a map with a lot of variation, a lot of innovation coming through, and it's still very early on in its life scale span.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the right word. It's not like Oregon, where it got found out very quickly. It's like, this is the best way to attack it. This is the best way to defend it. These are your counters. These are the pocket strats. Chalet, it's still got a lot of work there. There's kind of ideas forming on how to play it, but nothing really feels cemented in right now. That's something I love about it. It does feel like a different map. The operators that you need to bring, they're different. The playstyle you need to bring, it's different as well. And you got to look at some of these key areas that are really interesting. Think about kitchen dining, right? The main area for a defender to hold on that site is piano.
It's wonderful because especially that area, that entire part of the area, kitchen,
Mm,
master bedroom, office. The fact is that there's so much verticality. Those sites are so interlinked to each other. If you want to, take control of office and you want to displace people from key power positions inside a bedroom and office, bring a buck, go vertical. You can open up the floor, reverse that. You can bring that
mm.
verticality downstairs as well. There's so many options and there's so many ways you can play it. And because it's still forming up, it is an interesting kind of map and how it might go along its developmental route. One interesting stat line that I did have to pull and copy from, I believe,
Mm.
Kicks at SI is that so far the defense in SI, or group stages, have a 37-38% win rate, which is pretty low for anything compared in Siege. That is one of the lowest defensive win rates in any map we've ever had.
Mm.
And it is attacker sided. And I think it's a very interesting climate to see a new map come out and it be inherently favoring the attacking side because there's so much verticality, because there's so much kind of dynamic ways, and it's very difficult to hold these key and power positions. It can feel some like an uphill struggle to be able to have a dominant, controlling defensive round. But again, everything changes once we're not in T1 here. We're in our university
Yeah.
scene, so we might have a completely different climate. But it's something perhaps to sit on your brain.
Yeah, I don't expect to see that snowmobile at all because we've seen T1 teams, they're comfortable going to that position. They have strats in mind, but when you do start to kind of move down over towards the T3, T4, well, then you're seeing teams just not wanting to approach it because it's one of those where you've got to be very, very decisive about where you commit your utility. If you know the team you're going up against and you have a really competent support staff team, then yeah, then you can decide, okay, go down here. This is where they like to attack when they've attacked this site. So we commit our utility towards blue, or towards trench, or towards that main wall. But all it takes is one drone to say, well, they've stacked all that utility there. This area's a bit weak. Let's push down it. That's what I like about that snowmobile. Like you said, it's very attacker-sided, actually, as a map. And if the attackers can get just that little bit of momentum, they can really get the ball rolling. You think about it, a good roam clear, that's half the job done for most of these sites. Then it comes down to the execution. If you take Piano, then essentially the round's just about to end, let's be honest.
Yeah, piano is kind of that linchpin for a lot of sites on this one, just because it gives you a massive array of control from verticality to that lateral play as well. It's one of those areas that you're always going to see people scuffling over, trying to keep control over. It's such a wonderful design, the fact that that area can have such an influence, but you can work around it if you can't gain it as well. It's not end of the roads if you're not able to take it on the offensive side. You have other workarounds, but it's one of the joys of right now seeing a map in its developmental stage, and one that very much leans itself to kind of our current climate. You know, we shifted from super utility favoring, super slow and clearing everything, to a little bit more quick and aggressive style, and this map works for it perfectly. The pacing is wonderful, and the fact that you can see actual legitimate engagements inside of key areas within the first 45 seconds is almost a breath of fresh air, which is why I love watching this map being played at all levels of competition, because it provides some of the best action you can ever see in Siege, because it's not a spawn peak that catalysts are, not a spawn peak that can open up something early. It's someone in library, someone getting aggressive downstairs in gaming, and it's a wonderful experience to watch.
Yes. Now, speaking of watching this experience, we are going to be jumping into our game of the ban phase. That's going to determine where a lot of these gunfights are going to take place, because if you look at this and you say, not a Thatcher, not Maverick, but a Buck ban, actually, well, then you've immediately got to think, well, that vertical play, that can actually really struggle. If you take away that Buck, then you think about, okay, if you get control of maybe Kitchen on the CEO, you try and do vertical, you try and take away the utility on the wall to do heart breach. That can be a really impactful ban, but with Froggers, they're about to go into their attack. I don't see them banning it. We're probably going to see that Maverick being taken away, or a Nomad to shut down flanks. And, I mean, that makes sense, but at the moment you're going into attack, you're going up against a team like Ludens. They're comfortable with their gunplay. They're comfortable making plays. I don't think that's the right ban, to be honest. Maybe a Jackal, something that passively shuts down that flank watch a bit more. But a Nomad, you take it away, you can shoot an air jab, fire and forget, and Ludens still need to worry about it. I feel like the Nomad shouldn't be the operator to ban.
Yeah, I'm not. Especially when you're on a map like this where flexibility on that defensive presence is so available. You can roam, you can rotate, there's plenty of hatches and balconies to get these easy rotations. It's very tricky to actually have a chokehold with those nomads, and I again, not too sure of how that ban's going to work out. We see that mirror getting removed, and that's going to be those black mirror windows out of play. They are so potent, so deadly, and especially in bar gaming, because of that new little stock area. It's got no verticality. You cannot pressure it from above, and it can be a nightmare to displace anyone from there. The only real lifeline you have to push that is if you can get that main stairs single wall opened up. One thing, though, I do want to go back. You mentioned that a buck ban could be like something valuable. It reminds me of how LATAM used to play on maps like Border, where a buck ban was super prevalent because they relied on getting that downstairs control and forcing people out of power positions before having to take initial engagements. And we see a buck getting flashed there by Vulcanoid, but unfortunately 6 picks towards that Thermite, and of course bringing that redundancy of a second hard breacher, always something very important on a map like this, where key walls can be important to open up. And well, our first set of Master Bedroom has a very important wall by the top of K9.
Well, but I'm going to have to do a little bit of theory crafting here, because you talked about that buck on maps like Border, which, I'm going to be honest, I thought was going to actually place Chalet's spot in the comp pool. I thought Chalet wasn't going to be brought in. I thought it was going to be the new Border. But that buck, having frag grenades, playing down below, opening things up and forcing out of power positions, that's the role I see Flores moving into. You set up a crossfire, think half wall on Border. On in rank, somebody's going to be playing that. How are you going to deal with it? Drive one of those for terrors in. You have somebody holding the cross. They either stay there and die, or they run into the crossfire, get taken out. Now, that's just theory crafting. That's not really important. It's something for you to think about, but it's not something I want to hear about right now. And that's probably what you're thinking if you're watching this. So, looking at this site, CEO, Master Bedroom, I'm really excited for it, because you're going to see exactly what we talked about. So that Aruni has to come into play. The That's going to be a key linchpin in that piano area as well, because those Goyo shields, those laser gates, as soon as they fall, piano gets taken. As soon as piano gets taken, the Froggers, they have an entryway onto the site. And most importantly, though, if that piano falls, then there's nothing to stop that bridge getting open. If you get the utility down below, you open the wall, yeah, okay, you can get in. You still have to deal with piano. As soon as piano is gone, that half wall, it opens up into a massive kill box. Yukio gonna start us off with a kill onto Proctor. Takes away the Goyo, the C4, the Kekter is removed, but doesn't have an impact in the round. The rest of the Froggers, they're over towards this library and starting their drone work.
I believe that kill came for a Repel and Solarium, which is an interesting spot to find your opening. It can be a lot of teams sometimes when they get met by stiff resistance inside of Library, do tend to rotate over towards that direction. Great use of the Vulcan shields, creating lots of physical cover to work with. Flew downstairs inside the basement, trying to perhaps look for someone on that roam presence, but we have the benefit of seeing no one's down there. There's no active threat. Thermite is alarmed by the home. The first breaching charge missed, and the second one isn't going to be able to do the job either. What exactly is this electrified?
It's in the goddamn right place, because KK's playing right on that little breach, and is actually putting the pressure on Murph, trying to peek below and trying to shoot up. As long as KK's here, you put the pressure on. This is a huge position for the Ludens. Right now, they've got Piano hallway. This is where Piano's really going to start making a huge, huge statement. Goyo shields will be taken away, though. Giobu will fall, as will Benji. And the Froggers, they're going to start up. Flo, she's going to push through, finding those 2 kills with that Type 87 assault rifle. Pushing through, the utility's going to go through. KK's going to have to spring into action. Looks to find 1 kill, but it's just not going to happen. A flawless round to start off the Froggers, and, well, that's very exciting. This just makes you think we're a bit, well, attacker-sided map, maybe. But it's definitely a different-sided Froggers than what we've seen before.
That was a really fantastic attack from them. Every forward motion they took was with purpose. From that initial pick, we saw the Yana get that initial pick on Solarium and instantly rotate off towards that piano window. There was no waiting around to try and find a second if someone's swatting the trade. It was, I'm going to play this position, get the opening pick, rotate away, and establish my pressure from this window. Once they cleared the shield on piano, that Goyo shield burnt away, done lots of damage. They were just able to force their way in and cause so much significant damage. A wonderful example of how potent an attacking side can be. And while the stat lines do say that the attacking side is favored, you still have to be able to play with precision and get your executions working and rolling. Otherwise, the defense have that intrinsic just Rainbow Six Siege advantage. We do return upstairs to this master bedroom and office site once again. So second time of asking for lockdown Ludens, and they make it stick. Not going to see too much changing in the operator lineup apart from the addition of Proctor now bringing out that those ADSs on the Jaeger, not relying on the white pancakes, and well, not having that Aruni as well is an interesting decision. KK goes towards that smoke. Aruni on this site is super potent, as it does act as somewhat of a pseudo catcher as well, because you've got to commit a flashbang or someone utility through that, and you're faced with ADSs and pancakes to worry about. In a key position like piano, that can be very vital to not only burning down that time, but taking away valuable utility from Froggers.
Well, the big thing that you can do with these Banshees is you can put them in much tighter areas than the Goyo shield. The Goyo shields, they have to be in a specific position. The laser gates, they kind of need to as well. With a Banshee, you still have to use that utility. It slows them down and gives you the information of where they are. If you know that somebody's there and you got a C4, well, it's just a free kill waiting to happen. The big shift for the Ludens is Proctor on this Jaeger is going to be playing inside a library. Well, obviously the Froggers, they're going to start shooting it out. But the name of the game for the Ludens is to slow them down. If you find a pig, well, that's just going to be huge. Now, Proctor knows that somebody's there. Reverse is going to start opening this balcony and, well, he's going to have to start taking these kills. The things will come out, but nobody is going to find a kill. Job, who takes a little bit of damage. Back in on window, I do believe, but nothing really. Proctor's going to find Reverse as he jumps in, finds the first kill for Ludens, and, well, Volcanoid, she's down below. She can get this drone, but they know that she's there. And thus, Ludens, well, that's the time to pull back. The drone being taken away, and just retreat. Yobu able to find a kill onto the buck, and well, that vertical play that you talked about, Whippet, that's off the table now.
Yeah, that option's now been deleted, and well, this is a very, very substantial hold by Ludens, shutting down that initial entryway down towards the library, and it looks like Froggers are putting all their eggs in one basket, now committing to an entire southwestern side clear. They're being met by those shots whizzing through that wall. 5.56 deadly round, especially if he can be accurate with it. Well, yes, Jaeger's new recoil can be somewhat unbearable. He can make it where Proctor's already finding one in this round. Let's make it number 2. Murph is next to go in a 5 versus 2. Flu is left with a lot to worry about. Yukio on that window, that balcony, the power position, but dropping off and trying to get closer to their teammate. A tricky position to find yourself in. A minute 15 to work with, so you have the time to recoup and recover, but you have 5 players, 5 defenders, all guns trained on your initial point. You didn't really hide your, play your cards close to your chest because, well, they know the library pressure is there. The fuser is still being dropped and stuck in no man's land, and you're faced with limited utility against a Goyo shield on piano. The Gemini replicator sent in, but no one's following it directly, and that could have been a mistake. Flu could have got a free kill on that Goyo, but the bulletproof camera relaying the information, so perhaps a wise choice to not follow in the replicator, sending shots down range, but well, a C4 and a Goyo shield confirms the kill. Katie gets that, and now in a 5 versus 1. Are we going to see these teams trade back to back, flawless rounds with each other, tie this up, 35 seconds remain, and Yukio is stuck in a 1 versus 5.
Yeah, something huge has to come up right now. Proctor just wants to find a pistol kill. He's going to be looking for it, but, well, simply put, the round's already over. Yukio, not enough time, not enough support, and no utility at all. Will be prone. Proctor just wants to pad the stats. Realizes they're prone. Let's go get down. That's not a bad thing, because Yukio pushes forward to find the kill. Benji holds the angle, and the bulletproof camera, it gives away the information. That's the big thing I want to talk about. That's the shift we saw. The Goyo shield was right there, and the C4 is behind it. The bulletproof camera, well, you just stick one player on there, and they have to swing. You get information either way. Either they push and take it out, and in turn, expose themselves, or you get that constant information. That's where we saw flow being taken away, and, well, it was all down to Yukio at that point, and like I said, it just wasn't going to happen. You'd lost so much on that early roam clear, because Ludens realized that's where you went. That's where you committed a lot of your utility. Whip it. We are going to head down to that bottom floor, and the operators are going to stay pretty much the same. The 6-pick will bring out that Jaeger, and that doesn't surprise me at all. You've got the Bandit, you've got the Mute, a lot of utility, so even if you do bring anything to get that wall open like Cali, that's not going to be the case. The Maverick's going to negate that, but the question is, are Froggers going to be prepared for this site? Do they have a game plan ready? How are they going to deal with the puzzle placed in front of them?
Judging by the operator lineup, I like to see this Maverick being brought out as well as that redundancy with the Ace, so I think they're somewhat prepared to go downstairs and brawl in the basement for this initial control. One kind of thing that instantly pops in my head is Vulcan back on the book. Has that potential, to do the massive amount of verticality. If you look up in Fireplace, you just see everything is soft breachable. Like, look, this entire area, soft breachable. You got that hatch available, which that book has the secondary hard breach utility as well, so that gives multi-purpose to the Canadian operator. All of this, power positions directly underneath that, that could be a very pivotal part of this round. Froggers, though, have to be aware, if there is an upstairs roam presence, they need to clear that out, shut down any roam potential, but as of right now, everyone's tucked in nice and neatly close to side, all 5 defenders huddled in and keeping control, so, well, will the Froggers be able to read into that quickly and not waste time on a clear that isn't required? They could just take this entire lobby area right now and be rather safe.
Well, they know that Trench is empty. This is someone I talked about before, where they might just say, okay, if they're committing utility towards this main garage wall, well, they might just read into it and go somewhere else. Now, the drones are coming out, and the Froggers do realize, well, they're stacking quite heavily on the bottom floor. Volcanoid, with the buck, still has a lot of use. Not as much as the other sites, but still quite a bit. That floor is soft. You can shut down that connector. You can shut down freedom of movement the defenders have, but it is going to be a very heavy trench push. Because of this, Ludens have the opportunity to rotate. They can move the utility around, but they don't really need to find that first kill. Yukio will be killing himself with the frag grenade, and, well, it's just not a good start to a push, which is just summed up completely by choke points. The Goyo shields, they're going to be the biggest kind of identifier about this. Murph will be able to find that equalizer, but you're still playing catch-up. The mute jammer on the wall means you're not going to be able to get that side wall open to ease that choking, and the smoke canister. 1 at half a round, not a bad thing, really, because slow them down, stop them from pushing in. Reverse will take some damage, and they're going to rotate around, but there's the pinch coming in. Jobu wants to find a kill. Not going to happen with Flu looking. Still, Froggers, though, they haven't really got much ground gained.
Yeah, good decision to peek with 2 there towards the stairs. Another toxic cannons are tossed out. That's now 2 of them using this mute jammer, just persisting. This is going to be the real king of this round, the MVP, this single jammer. The amount of time that's been delayed with those ace charges have been on that wall is ridiculous and finally removed from the fray. So both Selmas in sequence opening up this wall across there from reverse, getting an angle. A C4 tossed out will remove those Selmas before the sequence continues, but the angles have been opened up, and well, a wonderful shot there. Gady falls, a great opener, and this could give the advantage for Froggers now in a 3 versus 2. Volcanoid creeps and crawls down the blue stairs. The diffuser spotted out by KK. The SMG-11 primed and ready, but can't land a shot. Blue is going to get reduced to low HP, but the crossfire is there. Volcanoid finds the final kill. Benji falls, and that's Froggers who claim round number 3. They took their time, they waited, and they were almost held at a complete stop by that mute jammer for a little bit too long, but they solved the puzzle, and they got the round victory.
Way too long, I'm going to add. It led to the actual ace being killed before they finally got it off the wall, and then the C4 meant that you couldn't crouch through it. You had to prone angle. Suddenly that basically says, well, you got a sightline, but you got to go through the door. And Ludens still hold a lot of the cards at that point. They had that blue position. That's why Volcanoid rotating round and heading down it. That was so important. Because they dropped down. You push down that position. They don't know that you're there. She took her time. She didn't fire. She didn't get aggressive. She waited. As soon as the push actually started to come into the wine area, that's when we saw the rotate coming through from Benji. That's when he tried to go into blue and catch them off guard. Who was waiting? Nobody but Volcanoid. Froggers, they're able to pick up a second round and keep in the lead in this game so far, but Ludens, they've had tit for tat so far as we return to the bottom floor. Is this going to be their round? Are they going to make the changes necessary? I think that mute jammer definitely should stay where it was. I think that's definitely a key point you need to keep. Maybe a little bit of roam presence. That might have helped a little bit coming out from the Ludens, because like you said, they were able to get down into that trench quite easily. If there was a roam presence to slow them down as well, you saw them out way longer than they have available to them. The round is won on time. They push into those bottlenecks. They don't have the time for the blue rotate to get around, get that wall open. Realistically, Whip It, I'm going to say if Ludens incorporate a roam, this can easily be their round.
It certainly could be. One little kind of thing I'm concerned with is the fact that lobby hatch has been left soft, and we do see that secondary shotgun on Volcanoid could crack that open in a single shot. And well, if that were me, and I had that potential, once the roaming was cleared, I'd be hot dropping that hatch. I'd be trying to cause as much chaos as possible. But you know, at the end of the day, there's a reason I'm on this side of the broadcast and not the other. So the round continues to play out. Entries downstairs inside of the big garage, and we do see there was a roam presence up on that library balcony, trying to perhaps deter any entryway. Yukio trying to be using that Gone 6 to great effect there, popping that utility off that wall, clears it, makes it easier to advance.
And not killing himself, I want to add.
That is a good improvement to this stage of the previous round. You know, not overholding that grenade. Jackal ping though on the Benji. This could be catastrophic perhaps, but no. Retreats back to site, stays alive. Proctor though, upstairs, and they're not going to know that it's Jaeger's upstairs. They know that they scanned that Malusi, so if a Jaeger can swing around that corner and use that carbine to great success, that might catch Froggers off by surprise.
Yeah, and those west stairs, well, it didn't work last time, had a huge impact. That mute jammer is going to get taken away alongside a deployable shield very quickly. Volcanoid finding Benji, though, finds the Malusi, but Proctor is still on the roam. That's where we have a lot of potential for this round. Jobu's nearby, so that's just a pinch waiting to happen. Right now, the Ludens, they're sitting pretty because the Froggers haven't really committed. They've actually taken away players to try and deal with these roamers. That's the job of a roamer. You make them overcommit. Jobu knows somebody's in here. He has a C4. A C4 could find a kill, but Yukio's going to be the one to do it. Gady looks to find a refrag. There's nothing there, though. The Gemini's going to go in. It's going to give the information. There's nobody behind this shield, and that's when Gady moves forward. He realizes if you don't know he's there, he pushes up. He becomes a problem for the attackers. But Proctor, well, he's going to make his name pop up in that kill feed. Murph getting taken away, the Jackal scan comes through, but it's kind of a muted reaction. There's nothing really there. You know, he's on site, he's got a kill. The plant will go down, but Gady is waiting. and watching. Tactical could strike at the perfect time. Giobu and Proctor, though, they're going to get down to C4's going to have to do it. Finds one, finds two, but you need two more. Frag Grenade will finish off Giobu, but Vulcanoid's coming on the flank. Gady, this is tit for tat. You need to find this first kill before the rotate. You're gonna get it. Reverse just isn't gonna have an answer. And now you go for this defuse, but you realize the push is coming. They're gonna be holding. They just need to keep you distracted. That's exactly what Vulcanoid's doing yet again on the flank. Looking at Gady trying to get the kill. And they're realizing time. That's helping. We've got a drone. We know when they're defusing. That's happening right now.
You have to go.
I'm sticking.
Oh, no,
He's lost it. That's it. It's over. Vulcanoid swings, gets the kill, and Froggers win that bottom floor attack 2 times in a row.
That could have been if that stick came out, we might have been seeing a few milliseconds in difference between round victory and defeat there. That's an interesting choice to pull off. Again, the audio was there that someone was bearing down, and so trying to take that risk, you never know how it could play out. But unfortunately, Dr. Ludens, that is another round defeat down in the basement as Froggers take their 3rd round. Moving to the 5th round now, we go back upstairs to Master Bedroom. And I just wonder, will we see much of a major level of adaptation? Will they fight for that library as hard as they did when they got their round victory on the board? Or will they perhaps wait instead of more of a kill box there and wait for that initial progression coming out? Vulcanoid 6 picks away from that Dokkaebi onto the Ash to bring a bit more potency. 3 breaching rounds on an R4C always going to be beneficial to a team, so I wonder how that's going to play out. Look at this play. Prone, C4 toss out, Maverick completely unaware. Gady was in a great position to win this out. You know, perhaps could have finished that kill off to stop that player, down player acting as a drone perhaps, but unfortunate read there. Vulcanoid played it well, stayed passive, kept alive, and was able to close out that round.
Yes, now, just to remind everybody what's going on, well, Froggers and Ludens, there's nothing really here in the game playoff-wise, because, you know, Ludens, they're already locked in, Froggers can't qualify, and it's all about seeding. But the big thing right now is that Ludens, if they're showing weakness, teams are going to be watching. They're going to be looking. Now, our observer has just said maybe they're saving strats, but that argument only lasts so long. You'd think a team should be able to win it out. I know they may not want to show strats. It's a man like Chalet. It's gonna be used in the playoffs, isn't it? Simply put, you can't say no. But you've got to think, okay, Froggers, well, they're just going into this. They might have prepared, they might not. But Ludens aren't really... They're looking prepared, but they don't have the adaptation that's needed. I mean, they had it in the 2nd round, where we saw them win this very site, actually. But when there's things going wrong, they committed extra grown players, but they just weren't able to have the impact they needed. That's exactly what's happening right now. Giobu and Proctor are returning to library. They're looking to waste time. The drone's coming through. They know about Proctor. Giobu's a good guess on his position. Now it's just coming down to the gunfights. A win or loss here in favor of the defenders can really shape out how this round is going to play. Last time we saw Proctor being able to find a kill. But right now, he's just not landing those shots, is he?
No, and well, they're not must-win shots just yet. You know, tapping away, being that initial deterrent. You're hearing a rifle round whiz over your head at this window. You're not going to be too keen to re-peek that, risking getting one tap from a position you haven't quite identified. He drops himself down the main stairs just a few notches, tries to line up another shot. Tracer's just landing above his head, but he's just delaying that time, and all he must do is exist. And that's the key of this, as long as Proctor is on these main stairs, they don't have an exact drone, no one's pushing them out. This is time, valuable seconds, drained away from the reserves of Froggers, and all by someone just being in a position, just existing, just being a little bit annoying, sending shots down range as an alert, and Vulcanoid, the first to receive some major damage down below, trying to perhaps be that kind of flank watcher, that pressure relief valve, but Proctor escapes down the stairs. Vulcanoid trying to hold that cross, perhaps the offer is potent, but they're going to be caught out by Giobu on the blue stairs, and that's going to be waving goodbye to your Ash, the first to fall, and well, a bit of a collapse. That's going to be reverse getting one, but Gady finds one on the Yukio, and that's going to be an advantage sitting with lockdown Ludens. A minute left to work with, and a decent amount of control gathered, but they're still unsettled and still uneasy about exactly where these defenders are, what the game plan is, as we see a game of cat and mouse down in games room. Surely this Jaeger's going to be able to walk up behind the Maverick and find this kill, and no! That's a wonderful read! Must have been some audio cue, but Proctor falls, and now a 3 versus 3. Both teams on level playing ground, but they still have one key area to clear, and that's going to be a piano, a fortress, and often an impenetrable one, and these walls all electrified and reinforced. Going to be tricky to break down, and a nasty crossfire established. That shield is going to be so pivotal, holding onto this control. Froggers left for the mountain to climb.
Yes, now, you remember last time we were on this site, this was the big problem area. Now, Froggers, they've decided to opt for something different rather than going below. They're getting the Maverick, getting on the wall, getting the utility. But this is where the smoke canisters, this is where the glow shields, this is where they're gonna have the impact. And Katie with that Kekta is going to look to have an impact at that. As C4 goes through, Murph finds a kill and gets that C4 taken away. But the team kill, Katie's able to clean up. It's all down to reverse, finding one kill. The refrag from KK just says no. The Ludens are able to pick up another defensive round. Yet again, though, it's in this Master CEO. If they go to the bottom floor, you can expect Froggers to have something behind them. But, oh, you know, that's up to them. The big thing I want to touch upon, Whippet, is the roamers. On this side, Jobu and Proctor, they've just had such an important, incredible impact in this early round. They found a couple of kills. And like you said, well, just by existing on the main stairs, you're forcing a lot of time being wasted. Simply put, Froggers, they could move a player to main door. That's when you start pinching. If you can move it to library, simply put, you know there's someone on main stairs, you're wasting about half the round before you realize, right, let's get Volcanoid down below and stop applying pressure. And this is exactly it. You're looking at this and saying, well, because they've wasted so much time, Proctor's realizing as long as you're alive in that position, you're only going to help. Now that C4 was criminal. It was shot out of midair. It was taken away by a frag grenade. But then there was a team killing. Murph, you really can't be having that. Now, Bar and Games, this is an interesting site as well. And I feel like the lineup we're seeing in approach to this isn't what you normally expect, is it?
Yeah, it's a little bit out there. You know, again, I would like to see a massive, or somewhat significant extension upstairs because of how pivotal this area is, but it looks like it's going to be a very lateral hold with some roamers up to try and be that deterrent. I think the big thing everyone's going to be looking at right now is the Geobo on the Frost. The Pog mats are coming out, and we see all of them inside of games. Who is going to be the unfortunate soul to stumble onto one of these? Who's going to have that shame forever hanging over their head that they got Pog matted on Chalet in this matchup?
I'll take one for the team.
Oh, fair enough. I mean, it's a bit hard for you to log in right now. I mean,
just get Parsec up, we'll be fine. I'll take Yukio right now. He's going to be jumping in, looking for, maybe not looking for the Pogman. And if you don't, that can be painful, can't it? Can lead to exactly what you were saying.
Man, this is such a strong site. I'm looking at this and going into attack patterns right now from Froggers, and it's an interesting technique they're trying. We saw the Ash Prone, they're removing the Cameron Garage, which is an unusual thing to rotate away and do, considering that, you know, it's pretty easy to get rid of when you're in there, and you're not going to be very discreet breaking through one of those walls or forcing your way through a lobby. Reversed upstairs, clearing via bathroom now towards office. This is going to be a good initial front lines forming up. The wooden barrier is not going to be putting up much resistance, and this is why I'm so intrigued. There was no extension upstairs in office. This could be a massive fatal flaw, as just seeing second by second the amount of map control held by the offensive side is just expanding, and this could be a lot of pressure mounting the defense because they can now cut off rotations and hold a significant portion of this map, and everyone on the defensive side now huddling, cowering down towards the objective itself and library. And well, speaking of library, UQ has control just inside, and well, the Pog mats stand no chance against the G36C. And that could be one of the lifelines. The Lockdown Ludens make null and void every piece of utility that Frost brought, except for that deployable shield is now being expended. And Yukio is going to make good of that. Finding that grenade kill, not going to be a suicide this time. Gets the opening as Proctor falls. Your Jaeger is no longer active in this, and lucky the vertical control. It's there. Benji gets one, but instantly traded off. Didn't last long. Skatey's next to go as well. And the collapse is going to be imminent now. A minute remains. Yubo Sterling SMG primed and ready on the bottom of the blue stairs. But will that position be red? The Legion has Leviathan skin equipped, but that Leviathan must be able to feed on these people if he can claw this round back, but looking unlikely. Time running away in a 4 versus 2 to ensue.
Yes, fish in a barrel, you're feeling like, but that Leviathan might be more than you bargained for. Utility will be taken away on the game's wall, and because of that, well, you're making life a lot easier for this crossfire. Ludens, they're holding these positions because they realize a retake right now, that's suicide. You wait for the plan to be down. I was slowly moving in. Joby just holding position. The red ping, though, that might be the end of KK. If this nade is perfectly placed, that might be it. It's not going to be, because Yukio with that G36 is going to find that kill. The plant is going to start going down, and now Giobu on the blue stairs is going to be able to find one kill, but a call has gone through. You're looking for another one. You're able to get it. You've got to push through and find two more, though. The plant's gone down, and yet again, Ludens, very uncomfortable, will be shut down by Froggers, and I think it just comes down to how quickly they gave away the top floor. Normally, teams will have that piano hallway. They will have that just decked out with utility, laser gates, castle barricades, everything. Banshees, Goyo shields. That's where everything sticks. You reinforce the CEO, you reinforce the master bedroom walls, you make them work for it. That didn't happen. Froggers, they just walked in, they took control of the top floor after finding one kill, start doing vertical play. And it makes you wonder, Whippet, maybe Ludens haven't prepared this map. If they're looking at this and saying, let's not do vertical play on Chalet.
Yeah, from all of their setups, it does seem that everything, especially the two sites that they went to regularly, upstairs in the basement, they very much brought default strategies that everyone could intrinsically run. Everyone can figure out by themselves. And on a site like Bar Gaming, where it does require a little bit more finesse to make a strategy work and be as effective as it can possibly be to take advantage of the intrinsic advantages that site brings. They just didn't set everything up officially. Sorry, not officially. Proficiently. They didn't have utility in places that they needed to. We saw how rapidly piano, bedroom, and office all fell in sequence to the Froggers.
It just can't happen.
Yeah. Like, every matchup you watch, whether you go into the T1, T3, T2, look at it and how that site's played, it is a massacre upstairs normally to get that initial control because, as you said, there's often like laser cases, Goyo shield, everything. They'll hold on to that piano section on top of K9 and they put up a fight for it. And, well, Ludens gave it up for free. And that real estate, well, that's prime real estate. That's by the water. That's beachside in LA. You need to be paying premium for that.
Right. Chalet, well, it's the map that essentially revolves around piano. That's my approach to it. However, that's not the case for one site. And it's that bottom floor now. Yukio is nearby that hatch, which our observer science pointed out hasn't been reinforced, so there's a lot of opportunities. Now, there's a reason for this, I think. It's because Yukio playing here is trying to be a distraction himself. They realize, okay, you can get down there, you can get that hatch, but you gotta deal with us first. Now, that hatch is gonna remain unreinforced, and because of that, simply put, the Ludens, with one little bit of droning and one button pressing of that sledgehammer, will have an entryway onto site. This is something you actually wrote down as a note and said they could have done this. They could have hot chopped. They could have taken control on their attack. On their defense, they're neglecting the same thing. It's that hatch. Ludens, they just need to drone it. They just need to make sure that they can get there safely, and that's it. The rest of the Froggers, they're bunkering down, they're waiting.
It looks like at least a majority or significant part of the pressure that the Ludens are trying to establish is all coming from this northern side of the building. And well, the Goyo gets aggressive there. His picture snapped in the ACOG scope of Benji, but the trigger not pulled in rapid enough timing as he escapes his life in tow. C4 tossed out and only finding around 30 damage on the Benji. A worthwhile trade, maybe not, in a smoke grenade used for some visual cover. And the toxic canister burnt up with a grenade thrown in sequence. The second one's there, and Benji finds more damage received. KK is going to get shut down by a shotgun. Vulcanite traded off as well. Proctor gets that kill in reverse. And we're finding it now in 4 versus 4. Minute 10 remains. Selma charge is opening up, and seemingly the Ludens don't want to wait around. They got some momentum, and they're trying to break this deadlock very rapidly. A tricky engagement now for the ace. Murph has that SMG-11 primed and ready, and this might be testing the limits of the range of this weapon. Yukio is next to fall as Proctor finds a second in this round. A third canister tossed away, and now tapping away with Murph, trying to deny this play, but lots of pressure mounting towards that boiler, and Benji's going to make it even more hard because that's Murph who falls. Your smoke off the board. A reverse smoked away. Has a C4? No, it was used early as Giubo finds the head of reverse, and now it's all down the flue in a 1 versus 4. 30 seconds remaining, but that plant's going down, so the timer now reset to 45. With 4 players left to find, surely insurmountable odds creeping down towards blue, but so many guns watching all the key positions for rotations, and this is going to be a nightmare to fight against. Once you show yourself to this door, your position is known, and now it's compromised. Shots doing so much damage, and that's going to be finding one. Benji falls, but is it all too little too late now for Flu? As with 20 seconds left, that timer will hit critical soon, and with 3 people left to find and a limited amount of HP to work with, and that's Proctor, 3rd kill of the round, and confirms lockdown Luden's victory of round number 7 on their opening attacking round.
You've got to look at it and say, well, at that point, the time was already critical. You are in a 1 versus 4, and time is ticking down. You need to find 4 kills and be on that diffuser by 7.15. Otherwise, the round's just lost, simply put. There's nothing else to add on to it. But the big thing in that round for me was the case of Froggers. Well, they tried to defend it quite nicely. Every time a smoke grenade went down, a smoke canister from Murph would follow, because they're simply saying, well, you clearly don't want us to see something, so maybe you're crossing into sight. I'm just going to put a smoke canister so you don't, so you can't, simply put. I feel like Froggers, they were just a little bit overexposed. They were giving themselves a little bit, they were giving Ludens a little bit too much to work with. And they were giving them one-on-one engagements. That's where we saw Ludens really start to shine. They started to pull ahead in kills because they just picked a part of the defense. They chipped away at it, and then suddenly, 2 versus 3, you have one player behind that wall on the right side. You've got one down in blue, and there's nothing they can really do about it. They can cover an angle each, but as soon as more than one person goes in, they've lost that position. Honestly, it came down to Ludens playing a very good attacking side that we're really looking forward to. And I said it. I don't think they prepared this map, realistically. I feel like they're just going into it and saying, well, Calf, that's one of our stronger maps. Let's save it. Let's at least show, if we're weak on Shalia, let's at least show them that and not give away one of our strong maps. This is a seeding map. So I feel like moving on to the attack, we're going to see a much stronger Ludens. But Froggers, they're not going to give up anything for free, are they?
Yeah, on a map like this, considering that the weighting is leaning towards the attacking side, making every inch feel like a mile to take is a great thing for the Froggers to try and do. And it's not that difficult, all things considering, if you play into the very choke-pointy nature of a map like Chalet, if you can really fortify these key positions. Katie's drone somewhat being hunted, but a good retreat from that player. But this is something that I've seen a lot of teams do here in Badass University All-Stars, is not follow in drones. You need to do that. Someone was directly behind that thermite drone. The information was being relayed, and that kill was almost going to be guaranteed. Somewhat of a cue to fight down towards that angle, but as we see, no one on the Ludens has made that initial entryway in the big garage. They're kind of playing with a tempting fate, perhaps, and waiting for this upstairs clear to come out, but the control they could have gathered already behind that drone could have been substantial. I really want to see teams bringing that out more often. And that's going to be reversed. A wonderful opening kill, though. We see a quick squeeze of the trigger. That Kector in a sense, and 45 ACP down the range. And a C4 lands dangerously close to Gailey. Ears ringing, but still intact. All HP remaining. As Proctor by the top of main. He's going to try and apply some vertical pressure, perhaps. Well, no, not having the kit to do so. Perhaps just going to kind of wander down the stairs and regroups with the rest of the team.
Well, we're encountering the same issue we've seen before. Ludens don't really have much to work with. Now, though, Giobu being able to find that kill will open things up. Utility will start to go through, ADS is being burnt, the frag grenade will be wasted, and a smoke canister comes through. This is where we saw Froggers really have an opportunity to shut things down. That's not the case. They preempted this smoke canister, they forced another one out, and the utility goes through. But the ADSs, they're still there. They're still going to have that impact. There's no frag grenades now, and if I was Ludens, I start thinking about something else. KK will find the Yukio, and in doing so, well, you have that opportunity. Do you want to start rotating around? You have a player advantage. A split push can really put them on their toes. Flow right down in blue is looking to have a crossfire with Murph, but they're getting this wall open. And Whip It, it's back. The mute jammer, they don't know that they know it's gone, but they don't know where it is. They know it's there, but they can't just land the shot. The smoke grenade will come through. And it suddenly makes you think, well, maybe they're going to try and peek. Flo is going to make sure that doesn't happen, finding a kill onto Gidi. And 30 seconds is ticking down. Flo has a line of sight. Flo has an opportunity. Murph holding behind here is trying to make sure that she can get away with it. She will. 3 kills before being refragged. And now Proctor has to fight a 1 versus 2. Pushes through the G36. Time is ticking down. You don't have the diffuser. The hatch opens and the peek from Murph. Froggers, what a round.
That mute jammer, yet again, being a thorn in the side of the offense. But one thing is that Goyo's body, reverse's body, was blocking the shot from landing. They could not connect the shot.
Whip it was blocking the line of sight because the bullets would go through the body. They just couldn't see the jammer because of the Goyo. Reverse just pulling no punches, even after he dies. And 5-3 for the Froggers, who have decided this is when they want to start winning.
I mean, it's a good time to start winning nonetheless,
Yeah.
I guess. Trying to get your victory guaranteed. Or perhaps be that upset for Lockdown Ludens. Thermite getting brought out for Gady, that's going to be a sensible pick to have those 2 hard breaches. We see it so often that you need to have that redundancy available. And Vulcanoid, you see it as well. The Kavira is getting brought out, which is an interesting choice, to say the very least. And on a map like this, where the entryways are pretty well defined and they're rather narrow, they're not going to give you a lot of opportunities to make that silent pistol or that interrogation ability be all that worthwhile. But it's still a pretty terrifying prospect to face, especially if you spot that Kavir out in the prep phase and don't have exact eyes on where they are for the entirety of the round. It's going to play in the back of the mind of Lockdown Luton, so that could be a factor playing this one. But I really am hoping we see some pretty interesting Kavira plays.
Now, I'm going to go off topic a little bit. I'm going to ask you a question, quick question.
Ooh.
Have you been paying attention to the Twitter sphere?
A little bit.
What's the new siege name? Operation name?
North Star.
Ooh, and there's a helicopter, so for the first time, we might actually be able to board the helicopter. Moving on, very, very swiftly, because I'm going to get death threats from Whippet now. Like you said, though, Vulcanoid, a lot of opportunity, because we've seen that Ludens, they commit, they tunnel vision, they focus on one little area that they need to get control of, because in their attacks, they've been very one-dimensional. They haven't rotated around like we've seen the Froggers doing, and put a player down blue, or put a player on main stairs. They've held that position, they've said, right, this is the crossfire we need, this is the map control we need. And with Vulcanoid being where she is, and Luden's actually pushing through over towards the exit part of this library when you think about it, well, this is a huge potential. Now, this AK on the Jackal hasn't actually spotted anything is wrong, and Vulcanoid will just sit pretty, I think is the way I'm going to describe it. Silent step, meaning that even with the hatch open, she's going to be very hard to detect. And right now, and think about the Nomad ban. Right now, Vulcanoid has got a lot of power to sort this round out and give Froggers match point. Ludens, though, the rest of them, they're going to be wanting to get on the main stairs and make sure that this flank can't happen. Because they're assuming something's there. They've done it themselves. They need someone to get the wall open. They're going to move the players around, and the frag grenade of Benji will look to get that wall denial taken away. Not going to be needed, however, as the reaching charge will go off. Proctor will find that first kill, and Vulcanoid is still sitting pretty. Benji rotates around, Reverse uses that breach as just a shooting range and finds a kill onto KK. And suddenly the Jackal's gone. That flank has a lot more power. Reverse will be drawn out and pulls back because he realizes you've given your Cav a huge opportunity. You've got a kill. You've taken down a couple of drones. Make that 3. And there's a minute on the clock. You've had an incredible impact so far. Let's keep it so that you can have another one soon. The smoke grenade will go off. The push will start to come through. But just across. A plant hasn't gone down. They don't have that piano control we talked about, Whippet. With 45 seconds left, this push, it's going to ignore it. And there's a soft wall that the defenders can shoot through.
This is going to require a dive bomb down in the objective, and Kavira down below sends some shots down range and finds a kill, but this plant is going to get confirmed. Yes, it is a 4 versus 2 in a post-plant situation. The crossfire is not easily achieved, and Giobo is going to be facing multiple fronts in a few seconds, and while finds 1, finds 2, and that's going to be shut down by the ult at the hands of Flu, but Benji now in a great position to hold this diffuser, a great angle. Vulcanoid perhaps try and be disruptive of this, and no! Shut down! It's a 1 versus 1 against all the odds. The defuse is going to get tapped away. SMG-11 primed already, but no! Flu pulls out my favorite LMG and makes it work. That's going to be Froggers moving on to match point here on Chalet.
Yes, and I've got to give it all to Reverse, really, because the way that he played that was, as soon as the breach is open, gets a kill. When you open a breach, you don't really expect somebody to be stood there waiting because they know exactly where you're going to be. Reverse is able to find a kill. Takes away a couple of drones. That takes away the information game. They've got to get the Gemini in, or they've got to go and face check it. And because of that, well, you see an incredible choke point. The attackers don't want to attack because they know exactly that they're going to walk into a crossfire. That's when Vulcanoid strikes. That Jackal being the first kill of KK, well, that just opened everything up. Simply put, I don't really need to describe why a Jackal kill benefits a Kavira. You just come behind, you shoot them while they're not looking, you find something. At that point, Benji's already on the rotate. They can't play together. They have no option but to stick that plant. And, well, a huge effort from Benji just wasn't meant to happen. He's picked up the F2, which means maybe he's feeling like fragging his way out of this bad situation, but Froggers, they're going to be heading down to the kitchen dining site. They don't have a castle, which I think is a key part of the lineup you need to bring. They've got the Aruni. I'll allow them to have that. They've got utility denial. But the scariest thing is this Rook. Now, that little bit of armor that all the players get, that damage reduction, and or unless it's a headshot, you're confirmed to go down but not out. Well, that's huge. But the big thing is, 2.0 scope. That MP5 with it. It makes you very scared. And if you don't like an older bearing down upon your attacking side, you're not going to like this thing either.
Certainly not. It's one doesn't do as much damage as the LMG. It's got that extra magnification and a little bit less recoil, so it can be sending hellfire from a further distance. And it's going to be a little bit tricky to at least deal with it, because it's not going to be as loud and bellowing as that Italian LMG. So, match point, of course, for Froggers, downstairs in kitchen. This is a site that you don't see teams play all too often. Lots of teams get very comfortable playing your your upstairs and your basement. They end up in rotation of that, at least for lots of the games of Chalet I've witnessed. Proctor is the first to take a pretty significant chunk of damage, left on 50 HP, and that's not going to be the opening they were wishing for the honor, sending on him. Yet again, a lack of people following in drones is something that I would really just like to see every team perhaps adopt a little bit better, being able to follow those information devices in. Vulcanoid, though, reduced to low HP, under 50 as well from Proctor trading off, but drops to the ground, holds this position, and isn't going to try and move a muscle, just playing it quietly, waiting for that opportune moment to strike, retreats to the basement, and, well, at this point, Vulcanoid's going to be able to sit, be patient, and wait for a prime moment to strike, because if they don't drone you out, if they're not aware for it, and they're trying to make that execution stick in the final 30 seconds, and you pop up the main stairs, that could be the worst nightmare, and I love this. Look at this Froggers playing with that extension.
No. I'm sorry.
Oh, that drone! Oh, poor drone. You gotta feel bad for him.
4K, dude. 4K.
Oh, he got caught. Oh.
Yeah, he got caught lacking. But Murph is all about to... We're going to find out if Murph is about to get caught lacking. Yes. Benji's going to be able to win that gunfight into Murph. It opens things up. You can push through. You can start taking control of Piano. Yukio is forced back now because you have to pull back with the rest of your team. And right now, the information is coming through for Ludens. This is a good, strong start, but there are still Romas to deal with. You have to get that vertical play, and you have to get ready for a bottom floor push. That's what Ludens are looking to do right now, but Froggers, I feel like they're going to be in the right position to deal with it. Reverse is going to get taken away by Proctor, and as we will hit a minute on the clock, you've got to look at this. 3 versus 5. Can Ludens do it? Can they keep going? Benji's going to try and make sure that they can.
Well, a wonderful moment from Benji. They're starting to collapse towards the core of the site now. Flu sends some shots down range, but none connect, receiving damage in return. And with 40 seconds left to go, every engagement gains that extra bit of criticality. Vulcanoid, the drone, spots out this roam presence, and that Claymore could deny a rapid approach. But, well, you have impacts in your back pocket. Send some shots from a long range, but just impact the corner. Vulcanoid, you have a chance to swing. You don't have to take any risks. Use the impact of the Claymore! No! Vulcanoid gets the kill on the Proctor, still pinned in place by this Claymore, can send more shots down at range, but no one's going to present that angle, and what gets us through no matter what, manages to shoot the Claymore, but we're in a post-plant situation, 40 seconds, so we hit critical, and the advantage sits with Lockdown Ludens in a 3 versus 2. Blues put on a massive shift so far, but can they find some extra success? The P10 are only great to brawl with, but not a great magazine count, and that Saria Gate's going to make it hard to view through and give a read on your rotation if it tries to be made out. A shot wonderfully connects there. Vulcanoid tries to flank by West Main. No, by K9 trying to retake that verticality, but well, we have the benefit of silhouette, so we know no one's upstairs, so a wasted bit of energy there. And Flu left to fight on the objective all alone. A tricky prospect and shut down. The trade is there, but the time just isn't. As Lockdown Ludens will take this round no matter how this engagement swings, but it is KK to find that final kill of the round on the Vulcanoid.
Yeah, that was a big thing for me. It's just the lack of urgency. I mean, Vulcanoid, whether or not you shot that Claymore or you're just going to leave it and ignore it, well, you could rotate around to blue. Now, you might have been waiting for Flo to actually try and go for this retake, but there just didn't feel like there was much immediacy on the side of Ludens. On the side of Froggers, sorry, they would let Ludens take a lot of map control. They try and answer, but there wasn't that much. Vulcanoid, as a roamer, you're meant to be putting a lot of pressure on keeping these attackers on their back feet. You did that to start with Proctor, but he just walked away and you essentially stayed there. You know, I don't know. Ludens, they pushed in, they had a really good attacking side. Benji really spearheaded that incredibly alongside, I believe it was Gady on the Habana. And, well, simply put, Joe, KK, sorry, I can't get these things wrong with it. It's my job to talk. But the big thing is, this retake, it took a bit too long. It didn't seem as coordinated. You look at a Vocaloid and Flow. They're in positions to push together from a dining and dining door side. But then Vocaloid decides to go upstairs. I don't think that indicates, you've got that coordination that you need to execute a retake like that. You want to be in those positions a lot faster. You want to be taking that control. That just wasn't there. Returning to the bottom floor, Froggers, well, they've shown that they can win this out, and a mute jammer. That can, a mute jammer can have an incredible impact, as we've seen. But the big thing that can have a much stronger impact is if these hatches are ignored. We saw that Froggers are aware that this dining hatch can be opened because they've done it themselves. They went on the flank, realized it was open, and said, alright, I'm going to open it and distract them. I want to see that reinforced. I want to see people taking advantage of these little mistakes that are being made. Because if you can learn to take advantage of mistakes that a team make, you're really going to have a lot more longevity in your roster.
Certainly so. I just, going back, are we going to see a trilogy of mute jammers have, like overstaying their welcome? Right, okay, so Getty now knows mute jammer on that wall has the torch on Maverick, surely. Instantly you're going to think, okay, I'm going to put a little hole here, shoot this jammer, we're not going to have to worry about it persisting late into the round. I really hope that's going to be the plan. Well, judging from positioning of the Maverick, it certainly does seem to be that idea. Benji, top of West Main, trying to use this torch stone to find some extra bit of information, eking it around that corner best they can, following this Gemini replicator down the stairs. A good use of it, but those jammers do disrupt its signal, making it a little bit harder to or a little bit easier to discern which is real or not. A potential swing here, really getting aggressive on this main door. Wouldn't be a wise choice. That's going to be the going on reverse, and swinging against two active guns, not a good decision, so opting to fall back, a wise one.
Yeah, we've seen Reverse want to get aggressive here with that C4, and it just hasn't had an impact. It's just wasted that utility you wanted to land. Well, right now it's not going to. Proctor's going to be taken away. Proctor really stepping up. A Gemini. That free information you get with the Gemini, that's gone. The smoke canister will be here to just compound upon it, slow them down, and stall them out. A mute jammer has been dealt with because they have brought a Maverick to specifically deal with it. That's probably my favorite adaptation. But Reverse is going to get aggressive. We'll find KK. Suddenly, they're getting punched in horribly.
Oh!
Reverse has got 4. Can he find the 5th? It's Benji! He doesn't know what's happened! I don't blame him. He's up at dining, doesn't realize that while you go to do with whatever you were doing, maybe flanking, that the rest of your team were like sardines. They were stuck in that position. Yukio and Benji will try and have this gunfight. Benji has to realize that, well, the sharks are circling. They know blood is in the water. And my god, are they hungry? Reverse is wanting that ace.
Oh!
It's gonna get it. It shuts down the Froggers and wins out the first match of R2 today. Whip it. God, that was scary. The Kekta, no laughing matter.
It certainly isn't, and that final kill, just the disregard, yeah, I'ma swing the doorway, and I'm gonna take your head off your shoulders. That is mine, my ace, give me now. But just the reaction of Twitch, it's look like, I'm last? Oh, what happened?
You just told Yukio to just stay still, just go, you know?
Oh.
It's just right, Yukio, you're trying to take this gunfight. No, I want the ace. I'm going in. I don't blame him, actually.
No, neither could I. I think they were all trying to bide some time, let Reverse get that ace. And, well, what a way to conclude the victory. What a way to show your dominance on a map like Chalet. A great result from Froggers, and that does take away points from Lockdown Ludens, meaning that at least now in the standings, they can't get a higher seed. They're stuck locked in at where they are, and that could fall to the lowest seeding team inside of our playoffs. So that could be, you never know, disastrous for them. So, well, it's interesting how that plays out, but we do kind of have to somewhat of a notion or some kind of inkling that that was a map that he didn't have already prepared for it, so perhaps saving something for our upcoming playoffs, meaning to not exactly show the depth of the strat book or the map pools available to them, but still, massive credit to Frogger showing that they have that potential. That spark is certainly there when they're asked to perform, and sadly, they just could not find the consistency during our regular season to actually kind of win game after game after game, week in and week out, and that, for them, is a great highlight to end their season.
Yeah, it is a really nice way to end it. And if they want to stick as a team for season 3 in the summer, well, maybe they can. They've got a lot of potential behind them. So I'd like to see something like that. However, like you said, if you're looking at the Lockdown Ludens and you're going to be playing them in playoffs, well, Chalet is one of those maps you might want to pick because playoffs are going to be a best of 3. Now, big thing that we need to talk about, Whitbit, is that the next game is going to be probably just as spicy. The Princess is going to be making another appearance, and, well, they always deliver, let's be honest.
Yeah, they always do. There's a reason why they are top of your standings. Whether it was from the opening game of the season, where we saw Max D break the kill record on the very first appearance, and also was the map of Chalet. So interesting, will we see a full bookend of them playing Chalet to wrap up the season, their final game of regulation? Who knows? But a very dominant side, and if they can get a victory here, an all 3 points victory without going into overtime, they'll almost set themselves, I believe, I'm not quite sure the math, but almost set themselves completely clear at that top seed, and that's exactly what they want, because you want every possible advantage you want going into the playoffs.
Yeah, they will. If they win that game, simply put, they're on 23 points, and then Imperium and them, they can just secure their second place position, and yeah, this is the game for Princesses. If they win this, they're locked in that top slot. And then as soon as they go into the playoffs, they're going to be facing the 4th seed. It's going to be an easier time for them. But, well, speaking of easy times, they're going to have a nice little break before we do get to that game. Have a bit of a relax and kind of decongest after watching Froggers have one of the strongest upsets we've seen in the last couple of weeks. I'm McCready. Joining me is Whippet. Observation by Science. They're catching all the incredible moments, including some incredible mute jammers, let's be honest. Noah on production, making things look beautiful as always, and he's going to be sending us to a break, so goodbye.
But I told you I'll do it all over again. At your place or a spring break, a heartache, I do it all over again. Do it all over
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Badass University All-Stars for this, our penultimate play day of the regular season. We have all four of our playoff teams locked in, seedings being played for today, and we have come off a very exciting match on Chalet. I'm, of course, Whip, still joining me on the other side of the virtual cast desk is the one, the only, McCready.
As it goddamn should be with it. Now, we've seen an incredible game, we've had some laughs, had some tears, and most importantly, had a newfound love for mute jammers. But, well, the game we're going to be seeing is the Princesses going up against Chimp Hunters. Now, the Princesses, well, they have just been the team to beat this entire season. Let's waste no time, get into this schedule and rosters, and look at those Princesses. Absolutely beautiful. V7, Max D, Zodi, Mr. Joe, and so what? Interesting fact, Max D is known as Max P now. On the flip side, though, of Chimp Hunters, where is Mo, Sandanos, Angelo, Bullet, and Atlantic. This is a team that are another mid-table team that have had flashes of brilliance, but just haven't been able to close it down with it.
Yeah, I feel like this is a story for a lot of the teams in the mid-table because we saw everyone so close to each other during the entirety of our season that they had their flashes, they were able to perhaps get upset results, but they could never piece it together on a consistent basis, and that... I mean, for some of the teams, that's just kind of unfortunate for them. They were never able to find their magic, find the spark, and that's why we have all of our teams locked in and confirmed coming into this, our final play day. So, we know our teams, we know the players. What map will we see this battleground go to? This is the Princess and Chimp Hunters' final game of the regular season. For Chimp Hunters, it is their swan song before they go into the void of our postseason. And we see inside Clubhouse and Coastline waving goodbye. Villa Cafe next to go, banned out. This could be intriguing. I'm really excited for where we could possibly be going. I haven't got it spoiled.
Still there.
Yeah,
Chalet's still there.
It is.
It is.
Yes.
It is. The Princesses, they go back to the place where it all began, Whippet, with the kill record being set on this very map by this very team.
Yeah, this team set the current, and I think it's going to be an unbroken kill record for at least a significant time, and it was Max D that do so here on Chalet, the opening play day of the season, one of my very first Chalet casts as well. This is going to be an exciting one, a perfect bookend for this. We're going full circle for the Princesses, and if they can get a victory inside of 12 rounds here, they will almost confirm themselves top of the standings, getting that number 1 seed and giving themselves that extra little advantage moving into our playoffs.
Yes, well, on a map like Chalet with the team of the Princesses, well, we've just seen Ludens, they've come off of it, and they actually lost. That's where the Froggers were able to really stand out and actually bring up a win. Chimp Hunters, they're going to want to do the same thing. But unlike Lockdown Ludens, this isn't them just trying a map for the sake of it. This is a map that the Princesses are known to be absolutely lethal. And for the last time on your screen, the Chunters, they're going to be playing. They will have the first ban. Will we see another Thatcher and Nomad ban? Probably not, actually. I think Chunters, they're going to want to deal with the elephant in the room or the princess in the... I don't know, stomping ground. The Thatcher's going to be taken away, though, so whatever I was going to say has just been made null, but... Well, Max D, you're going to want to have something to deal with this, dude. It's coming out in the chat. I don't like it already, but let's focus on the bans instead with it.
Well, we're kind of perhaps not surprised with Thatcher, but muscle memory and somewhat of a reliance for lots of teams, and an ace going to get removed from Princesses, and this... I like a lot. Those Salnut charges are essentially free real estate because you don't have to have any risk. There's no risk to pulling them down. Just chuck it from a distance, it sticks to a wall and gets the job done. So a very reasonable and sensible ban from them. The first defensive operator getting removed from the Princesses now shall be... Okay, Kaid.
Right. What I want to talk about first is the fact that this ace being taken away, well... Maybe not as huge of an impact down below because, well, yeah, you have to bring Thatcher, you have to bring Habana or Maverick. And if you bring those operators, you put them yourselves in choke. Well, think about what I always say on Villa whenever we see an Ace or Habana ban. Well, you're just begging for C4s because think about the map. A lot of this top floor is very, very vertical heavy. So, C4s, they can have a huge impact. Now, the Amogus is coming out in chat. Whippet is going to be heading off to the Dark Zone for a couple of minutes just to kind of get back in.
Of my head.
But Mirror's been taken away, just like Whippet's sanity. And The Kector, well, that's gone. We saw the impact it had before, but those mirror windows we didn't actually see in our last game, and we're not going to see them now.
Yeah, we're not going to be seeing our favorite Spanish operator have some free. And, I mean, the Vector's still available. We still have Goyo that can bring it, so that might be something to keep your eye on. Instantly, we're going to see Bullet grabbing onto that Ella, a new operator we haven't seen in our Playday yet. So excited to see. I wonder. The only reason I'm mentioning Ella is because I want it to be a shotgun. I just want it to be a shotgun.
You do.
Because
Yeah, I understand that.
the FO12, it's almost like Maestro's LMDG, the Alda. It resonates with me on an emotional level.
The thing that you also need to take into account, while Bullet doesn't have it, is, well, think about what we've been talking about. You know, we've been talking about vertical play and choke points. Well, that shotgun has a lot of opportunity to rip rotates into a wall, but also shut down on choke points. Imagine right where you see the Ella right now, instead of the SMG swinging, that could be the FO12. When you think about how we actually saw Froggers really stall out in this exact area, think about if a shotgun was playing aggressively with the speed of Ella, the semi-auto shotgun. There's a lot of potential behind it. Not going to happen, unfortunately. And I think I'm going to have a nice little boycott of casting until it does happen.
Okay. Alright, we hear
Enjoy
that.
the solo cast.
Yeah, well, Creedy has retired from casting. Free, you can 2-spot for anyone who can grab it. First come, first serve for that one. So, round begins to play out. Of course, upstairs is going to be our very first side of choice. No surprise in that one, of course. Mr. Joe gets on the Solarium window repelled. We saw in our previous matchup, Yuko was able to find the opening kill from this position and be able to rotate away, and it looks like a lot of pressure mounting from this exact area. We see that Lion is in play from Max D, so I wonder if an aggressive style is getting brought out by the Princesses, and, well, if you've been following them throughout the course of the season, the words aggressive and Princesses don't exactly surprise you. A very good team, they're especially capable with their gun skill, and I wonder if they're going to take full advantage of that. That Frost, though, could be a nasty counter to deal with, as Sandaros tries to wiggle peek, and, well, Joe has none of it. Doesn't even want to give a chance. Finds the opening kill. A headshot cleaves Aruni's consciousness from their body as the advantage goes in favor of the attacking side.
No, I run the same skin as Mr. Joe, and I'm going to stop my boycott because of that. Returning to casting in a massive way to catch Angelo getting a C4 kill. Takes away Max P himself. That huge fragger you were talking about. The Lion scan's taken away alongside the 0. So what has got an answer? 3 kills. Says exactly, so what to that kill on the board. Now Atlantic bottom of Solarium stairs has the opportunity to retake this position, hold that line of sight, get a kill. And Bullet's positioning right now, well, that's just screaming out, let's get something in this game. Let's take control. So what's just going to reply with their name yet again? What are you gonna do about it? You're gonna lose your life. That's exactly it. And right now, Juntas are getting caught being aggressive. Mr. Joe will do some damage to Atlantic, trying to open up the Solarium. Replay finds a kill, but Mr. V's on the flank. And suddenly Solarium opens up. It's all down to Replay. He's subbing in for the Juntas off of Team Triton. But he's not having an impact just yet. He's got 2 kills. He's gonna need 4. He wants this, but he does not know where Mr. V is. Mr. Joe, on the other side, well, he's downstairs. He's going to be pushing his way up and looking to pincer in the Melusi.
No information to work with, but you can isolate 1v1s pretty easily here as we see both attackers reasonably well spread out from each other, so Melusi has an opportunity to strike but doesn't quite know it. That diffuser is stuck outside that bathroom window and has to be recovered if the win condition of the plant is even something the Princesses are considering. And at this stage of the round, I think they have to be. They're not aware of Melusi's position, and that's going to mask the sound. Perhaps Ash tries to get that diffuser now recovered, but this gives Replay an opportunity, and this could be a massive upset if available. Vaults in the window, and Replay finds kill number 3 of the round, and that cripples up the diffuser. Melusi slowing down Yana. Mr. V stuck with limited time to work with, has to dive onto the objectives and make a plant stick. Well, that Banshee could slow them down, but they're going to be able to opt for that plant. 5 seconds remaining. The rotation up Solarium is here, but will it stick? Yes, it is. We hear the MP5 sing off in the distance, and now in a 1 versus 1 post-plant situation, 40 seconds till we hit critical. Yana, though, reads the wrong position, not aware that the player's in piano. The cross is there, and well, Replay! A quad clutch round number 1 as the Chimp Hunters take the opening victory here on Chalet.
the first round, and it was won with a beautiful 4K to really step things up, a 1 versus 2, and well, simply put, so what? You tried your best, but you got taken down. It came down to the 2 misters, and well, like you said, they got isolated. That Ash charge being the end of Mr. Joe was horrible. I'm not even gonna lie. It was horrible. Because Replay realized, okay, he's outside, he's getting the fuser. I swing, I catch him in the animation. He's not ready for it because, well, he doesn't know where I'm gonna be. I know where he is. Find that kill, find that frag, huge. Go down below, trying at the C4 kill, but, well, Mr. V is just too fast. Went over towards CEO, to CEO. Yeah, that's a great decision because with the time that's left, Replay realizing the diffuser's gone, there's a plank going down, you got no choice but to go up Solarium stairs, and then the path of least resistance would be that CEO. Yeah, Master Bedroom rotate, which is why Mr. V was holding that angle. I would have preferred half wall as a post-plant position, but I think it must have been down to Mr. V not feeling comfortable with the time that was left, expecting that push, expecting the swing. Didn't want to go over to half wall because, well, you didn't have time. Chunters, huge round coming out from them. Angelo being the only other person to find a kill with a C4 that was beautiful, might I add. And right now, going to kitchen dining. Top floor hold is what I'm expecting to see, but this lineup is very different to what you typically see in competitive play. No Castle, no Aruni, not even a Jaeger or Wamai. This is going to be Chunters saying, well, you guys are aggressive. That's exactly what you said with it. We're going to deal with it. And it looks like they've all decided that there's plans. And they've decided to, yeah, David Attenborough's on the field. And you know what? I'll have a good one at David A. Max P's going to find the first kill. Will find a wild bullet in his natural environment. Unfortunately, that is dead.
Yeah, well, it didn't take long. You're saying goodbye to your Vigil, and that's going to be that somewhat stealth availability now off the board early. So, kind of progressing this round, an early advantage going to get played with. Oops.
Wait, they've actually gone and just sat in plants.
Oh my.
Chunters?
No, hold on. If Replay gets away with this,
he's not going to. Look at it. He's springing into action and being taken away by Mr. Joe. You tried it. You broke from the strat. You got what happens, you know?
you try it. Bravery, to say the very least, to try and get something like that to work for him. I mean, it's end of season, right? Of course you're going to see some unusual strategies and still remaining undetected, but Max he's aware. He knows what they're doing. He's going to take no prisoners, and now Atlantic is, the last one starting on Jello's like going, no, they know, yeah, the jig's been up. And now it's all down the Valkyrie, and Mr. Joe is not going to leave any prisoners. And that's going to be the R4C claiming a second victim of that round, and, well, everything's tied up, 1 round apiece.
Your passion from Chuntus right there. The information, though, just being the downfall of them, I feel like the Vigil was a bit rough. I won't lie to you at all, having that position. You drew the short end of the stick, Bullet. I'm not really sure what else to say about that. And I think that goes to the round in general. I'm not really sure what to say. We saw a lineup that didn't make sense. Now we're seeing one that does. We're seeing a pretty typical lineup. The Goyo, the Mute Jammers, the Aruni. You're looking at this, and this is a bar gaming setup. You'd expect to maybe see a Mirror, which is Ben, so not that, or a Castle. You know, these operators have a lot of impact, a lot of utility to give to the strat. But it sits down us to bring in a Frost as that 6-pick. And personally, I'd go for the Aruni Gate, but based on that last round, we have to take everything with a pinch of salt, simply put.
Yeah, I'm not too surprised, though, all things considered. I mean, this is going to be an entertaining match no matter what. You're going to see some very bizarre strategies getting brought out, and I think that's always going to be interesting to see, you know? I mean, tree strategy, who would have saw that one coming? I certainly hadn't predicted that one, as Frost is getting brought out. 2 Pog mats placed in parallel against a single window inside of library, I should say, as bar gaming is our side of choice. I mean, Princesses, you know, they're going to sit pretty. They're going to get, I believe, either first or second seed guaranteed out of this one, so there isn't major kind of urgency from their play. So Chimp Hunters again.
How busy are the Chimp Hunters?
He's riding high.
Aww.
Aww.
Replay?
Aww.
Yo, let's go. Replay, what a hero. What an absolute legend. Now, one thing I want to talk about in this library is not only the high, but, well, it's not reinforced, which means Replay's back is up against the wall that can be shot through There is information in the library, though, and I quite like that little display of that camera. It gives that information, it lets you know if they're inside that big window, and, well, the pog mats, they give you a little bit of breathing room, don't they?
A little bit, but not as much as you would want, especially holding such a critical area of the map. The bulletproof camera gives some availability, and well, Max, look at this. This is a wonderful drone. Spots the Goyo up, and I'm sure he's gonna go, Christ, someone get on my drone. Here's a yellow ping. Let's get this guy through a wall or two. But we see Goyo has retreated somewhat, regroups and recovers. And Max? Oh, Max hasn't spotted the pog mats. Oh, he doesn't know. Oh, Max, as Angelo finds the opening kill, but this, oh, Max, take one for the team.
Nearly.
Just take one anyway,
Do
Max.
it. Do it. He knows there's two, so he can't get it. The magazine size is large enough. The line scan will cover him, and no, you're just not loving, laughing, or loving, and you're gonna get punished for a replay for it. Able to find one kill. Refrag. Somehow in CEO, able to find a kill will be Zodi. Looking for another one, not going to land it just then, but still the princesses are a player down. But they have this big... I'm not really sure what to say about this, but that's perfectly fine. Atlantic gives me something to talk about. Able to find a killer and put us in a 4 versus 2 scenario. Minute 50 left, and, well, there's flanks that you need to worry about. Atlantic's able to find another. Enchanters, well, when they're not hiding in the trees, well... They come down and they have a little bit of a gunfight to do. Mr. Joe all on his own, puts a shot through a wall and gives away his position. So he's going to have to get out of that area and go for a swing. Atlantic, he's going to be waiting. He has the pistol out, the pre-fire's there. Mr. Joe knows, and he's going to be able to find it, Whip It. 50 seconds left, but you got to find 3 more kills and you got to get a plant down.
Unlikely to say the very least, but nonetheless, you can never give up complete and utter faith, as I am forever the optimist inside of Siege, with 35 seconds left to go. If he can clear this player up blue stairs, perhaps there's a chance, but this is going to be the choke point, and as time drains away, so that was my faith that this Ash can pull it out. Mr. Joe sends that breaching charge down range. He's going to pop that Goyo shield. He can't follow it up because of the flames, and I'm sure as much as he wanted to be heroic, he can no longer try that effort. So, 15 seconds. We hit red on that timer. And I think hopes and dreams of a clutch from Princesses are slipping between our fingertips. A tricky fight down towards Kitchen Double, and he's going to get bitted into the welcoming sights of Angelo with an SMG-11. A quick squeeze of that trigger sends him 9mm down range and confirms our final kill.
Yeah. Slipping through finger slip tips. That's the way to describe it because, well, Mr. Joe just wasn't finding the rhythm of that quick peek. Because that's something I love is pre-firing once you get into the rhythm of a quick peek. And then just shutting them down. That's not what happened. You were being, you're being distracted from one angle, you walk into another. Chimp Hunter's able to win it out just by playing little weird off positions. For example, talking about replay, holding that area in Fireplace. Well, you're able to distract Max P for one. You're able to find a kill. A refrag comes out behind you, but simply put, that's just a warning. It says, okay, Atlantic, it's time to go for a flank. We still have a player advantage. Let's use it. Chimp Hunters, when they decide that they're done monkeying around, that's when they really start to step up, and that's when we're seeing tangible results. Going back here, though, question is, are they going to go back to the trees?
I really hope they don't, because, they could provide an upset result here, but fitting, the Chimp's going to the trees, trying to find perhaps some home ground advantage. They can try and work that one out. But, I mean, going upstairs is the strongest side. I do like these openings down towards, facing towards the library.
Normal, isn't it? Yeah. Because you're looking at that opening, basically what that allows you to do is to comfortably swing and get aggressive. Now, in my experience, I tend to have the L wall done, because if you have that reinforcement on the right side, you can have a much closer peek down the angle. Obviously, you have to cross, but you're at least protecting the utility on the main wall. Honestly, though, it doesn't really matter which way you do it. Anyway, you're giving yourself sightlines. Your roamers, they collapse from library. They just position themselves in piano. The piano players move towards that CEO. You got fresh faces taking gunfights with the wary entry fraggers of the attack. For Princesses, the line scan will be going out. They will be looking to get in through the solarium area. Maybe in down below. Angelo's going to be able to find the first kill. Takes away the Ash. Mr. Joe not really had that much of an impact despite leading kills on his team so far. Sundanos going to fall as well, and Mr. V is able to find a second kill. 3 versus 4 Princesses, they have advantages, but they've yet to really get inside the building. This is where, as the Lion Scan goes off, Chunters have a real advantage.
Yeah, Chimpotters can really press their advantage in this stage, and well, the Oryx falls on up. He gets back to the objective to try and reinforce his pressure from Solarium begins to mount. See, this Master Bedroom repel could be a critical part of this, but Replay drops prone. And well, can just sit patiently, but doesn't have much of that patience to spare. Looks to get aggressive, and well, does so successfully. So what? Falls. The T5, a wonderful weapon. The fight with his bullet looks to step up to the plate as well. E1D deployed to try and limit the defensive movements. Zodi, a tricky fight down by the bathroom, but manages to find some damage, but not enough. His bullet's going to be a little bit quicker on the draw. Pistol on hand as Zodi falls. Still prone in the bathroom. Finally going to get finished away as Replay gets one of the Mr. V as well, leaving Max D, the sole soldier survivor, on that line. He's on the hunt for some prey, but no, can't find the shot there. The chimp seemingly running away from the lion, who's on the prowl. With 1 minute 15 left to work with, a lot of time to try and isolate a 1v1, but lots of time to get countered and flanked. Gives the defense a great opportunity and can't really push through this angle either. Has one flashbang remaining. His solitary bit of utility, and actually has no drones to work with either, so has to commit that utility somewhere. Timing is getting critical. Less than a minute to work with. 55 seconds. Can he force down the plant? We see one of the players downstairs. This is Replay waiting to use that Ramadash to leap up this hatch. Does so. I might not be able to find Max D as well.
No.
It's loud. It's very easy to read. And Max is quick on the draw. Here's an X-player running towards him. But no! Pre-fires the wrong position. Atlantic charges through the main master bedroom door. And makes that Soviet SMG sing as Lion falls.
Well, that's what I love about that position being prepped like that for the defenders. Is simply put, even with that wall open from Solarium, there's so much potential. You just get Atlantic pushing over towards it. He makes the audio. That's where Max hears him. That's where Max aims. You put one bullet in, you swing around, you pre-fire, you catch him trying to get out of the angle through the closet. And in doing so, walks right into you. Now, White Cellar and the lineup is looking more like some of my ranked games. I'm not going to lie. The Chunker and Pulse are being brought in the lineup. Malusi is going to be the 6th pick, but I feel like it should have gone the other way around, maybe. You know, stick the Pulse. It might be. You know, Malusi might come through, but Bandit's actually going to be there for the wall. There is no Mute Jammer, so that trench isn't going to be as big of a problem as it was last game. The Chunker. A lot of potential to really slow things down. If you look at the attacking lineup of Princesses, they don't actually have any hard breach aside from So What. If they can find that opening kill with a spawn peak, or if they can just stop Habana from getting to that trench, well, then they can end up ruining this round for the attackers. And Juntas, well, like I've said, as soon as they decide they want to win a round, and they don't want to sit in some bushes, that's when they're going to win it. They've really been comfortable.
This Tachanka is an interesting choice. I mean, bringing that LMG has that destructibility availability. But we have seen instead of T1 on this map in particular, the teams have run our Soviet Lord and have brought out the SMG instead of the LMG, perhaps opting for the higher mobility and not the cumbersome nature of running around with an LMG loaded in 7.62, trying to wield that thing around. But okay, brings it out. Lots of denial utility as well. That's with the I can't even. How do you even pronounce the launcher? That's like. Do you know how to pronounce it?
Shamika.
Okay.
I've got a half Polish girlfriend. I'll probably get her to kind of sort things out. She's already sorted me out with the Ellis gadget. It's Grzmot.
Okay.
She hasn't yelled at me, so I think I've got it right. And with Tachanka's LMG, using this Shamika launcher, you can really just area denial. It's simply put, Angelo, his smoke canisters, and Tachanka, they're just holding hands, walking down into the trail of path denial, simply put. A horrible attempt at an allegory. But, well, you know,
It worked.
it's got to be
It
done.
worked.
Yeah, Max P now has a sightline that he can get his utility and get his sightlines through, and Princesses, they've been very reliant on the gunplay. They've realized that seeding match, they're really talented. They have a lot behind them, and Max P is going to demonstrate this by finding Angelo's head. And they're just going to say, let's not worry about strats so much. Let's win out our gunfights. Let's get the Lion. Let's put them under pressure. That's when we take control. It hasn't worked so far. The Gemini will be taken away by the Tachanka. And we're about to see whether it's actually going to have that impact. One Legion Goo Mine will be taken away. The Lion Scanner at the halfway mark goes off and signals some kind of push is coming through. But nothing tangible has come out from the Princesses yet.
Yeah, yes, you have the opening, but map control somewhat wavering, and upstairs we still see that roam presence of Bullet. Has a great potential to be very disruptive here, and E1D sent out to try to limit that movement. Well, the Shamiska launcher using its utility, and only one of them makes it through the doorway. Can choke out lots of times, so a bit early to pop them, but nonetheless does burn down that time just a little bit. As that Legion still on the roam, so Bullet a massive factor in this round, and while it's not a mute jammer delaying the push, that one bandit wire could make this a difficult prospect to break through this wall. Bullet now inside of blue, and well, is Max gonna check it? He does! Wow, he wins out that fight, a scrappy engagement, but a rifle chambered in 308 can make a mess of any defender at close range. Sandanos tries to find the header's Lion crossing, but that's going to be a replay's job at the end of the day. Sandanos gets the kill, make that 2. No, I should say Mr. V gets that kill, make it 2. As now it's all down the replay, and a 1 versus 4. The plant goes down from Stillwater as he creeps his way to the edge of blue. Surely his position compromised and known, and yes it is. Mr. Joe clears his head from shoulders as Princesses take round number 5.
I feel like replays really come in huge for the Chimp Hunters. Definitely a send-out player as a super sub. I feel like there's a couple of little errors that we're seeing coming out from Chimp Hunters, which did allow the Princesses to win that round. I feel like not necessarily Bullet not being able to win his gunfight. I mean, yeah, that's literally it. He didn't win his gunfight. Not much more you could say about that. Let's move on. It's the fact that replay is trying to push down blue when that position's already lost. Max D's already moved down there. The plant's going down. Honestly, I'd go upstairs. I'd go maybe waste some time. Talk to my team. See what's going wrong. The big thing I do need to say, though, is Sandanos on the Tachanka. Well, why are you peeking it when you know that they're in sight with the Shamiga launcher? You don't need to do that. That's not exactly the best approach when you know that they're pushing, you know they're taking gunfights. Slow it down, maybe. If you're going to be using it, use it from range, in an angle where you can bounce it. Because, well, simply put, Whip It, think about the impact Tachanka would have had if he was allowed into comp as soon as it was introduced, in the 20-second meta. Tachanka would have much a higher lasting pick rate than he does now, in my opinion, because he would have become such an integral part of defensive lineups.
Oh, yeah.
Well, players just haven't really learned how to play him properly, and I feel like that's something that we saw. Now, Bullet is going to be heading to Bar Gaming, and with the rest of his team, is going to be bringing the older, so the Italian meatball may be able to sing again. It's Song of Death, as I know you love to call it.
Oh, I've never heard it described as the Italian meatball, but I think I'm going to put that one in my lexicon you know.
Alright, you've got to credit me. Just like the elder sings, I've got to credit you.
Okay, yeah, I'll
Goes
credit
both
you.
ways, buddy. Come on.
I'll credit you. I don't want to get copyright struck by McCready
Harvard
Enterprises.
reference and everything.
I will. I will have it all written on a sheet. I'll lift it up. I'll show it to camera every time I use it. You know? Yeah, we that's how it works, you know? We got to copyright our phrases. So, bullet holes being used by Goyo. Replay is trying to be a sneaky Goyo here. Drops prone. Perhaps as an entryway is there, but nope. No one's made that initial push. The E1D was used as Max is now going to do a pounce on Atlantic and gets the opening kill. That's going to be waving goodbye to your camp can. As Mr. V is going to capitalize as well and gets Angelo. So a very early advantage in favor of the offensive side. Bullet's going to be forming up the front line now. He's got 81 rounds to work with. Well, he's fired up a few in his magazine. We can't see how much he's got loaded, but he's not going to have all 81 rounds to work with. Sondano is going to get shut down by Mr. Joe, and the advantage only continues to grow. Replay now relocates and might get aggressive. Here's the Gemini Replicator, goes for that run out. Oh, well, no! He gets it just in the nick of time, perhaps. If he was a second later to that one, he would have got shut down. The Alder gets one, and this could be an absolute collapse.
Replay will be taken away by Mr. V, and, well, that Alder, it's gonna have to do something, and I know you like to say it, so I'll leave that to you, but 2 versus 1, as it stands, the revive can come out for Mr. Joe. With time on the clock, the Princesses, they've got a lot to work with, a lot of pressure, but Mr. V is just gonna make sure that that pressure translates directly into a kill. The frag grenade pushing in, able to find that kill, just the pre-fire finding it, and, well, it was a rough start, but 3-3. Princesses took a while to wake up, though, and that's on their attack. So, going on to the defense, they're gonna have to really step it up, aren't they?
Certainly so. I mean, we're looking at the grand scheme of things. On the attacking side, they did take a few rounds to warm up and get fully attuned with how the map was playing, what their opposition were doing, and so they paid the price for not being able to hit the ground running. But when they found that pace, found that momentum, we just see now that it's level playing field, 3 rounds apiece moving into the side swap. On Atlantic, doing a little interesting maneuver here. Moving on to the Amaru instead of the Zero. Place your bets. What window is Amaru going through? Is it going to be Solarium? Will it be Master Bedroom? Where will it be?
West main window.
Okay.
Below piano. Not into piano, below piano. Oh, our observer, I think, is saying either piano or maybe master bedroom. I think what we'll do is, you know, in post, we'll just say he guessed the right one. And we'll give him that. Because, well, we all love science.
Oh, good decision, actually. Let's check the script. That way we can figure it out.
Yes. Okay. You got any paper around? I don't know how to do this bit. I wasn't ready for it.
I've got the script here.
Alright, good. Alright, well, while he's looking through it and just double checking, I'm going to talk a little bit about this actual setup and the bit that I did memorize in the script. This is pretty much the same setup that we're seeing again in piano. We have the Goyo shields, we have that Aruni laser gate. That's just to shut down the attackers and make them really uncomfortable when it comes to swinging. Now, that alibi is in a really stinky place, actually, because what it does is if you're pre-firing a certain side of that shield where you expect the defender to be, because, let's be honest, they're going to be there, well, then that gives you the information. If they have the laser gates, if they have the shield, they can swing. If they have a shotgun ready, they can cause so much hurt. And Whip It, I do believe you are done with the script, yes?
Yeah, I am fully up to date. I shall forward on the script to you on what window Atlantic has chosen to run through. Of course, we can't tell you guys what the script says.
No, screw it. I'm gonna say master bedroom hatch.
Oh, you leak this. Creedy, we can't. You're leaking the script. If this actually happens, you know how sus this will look if this actually happens.
Creedy is the imposter. Now, Atlantic is actually in a good position for this. And that has dropped, and Angelo's going to sort that out, and we're just not going to talk about it other than the very obvious HP reduction that we have taken. Now, with Atlantic being undetected, this means that any action, any opportunity that you can get with this utility, including a kill onto Max P, is going to be absolutely huge. Now, Atlantic can move around, he can just play it safe. They know he's there, and they know they can deal with him. Andy has the Gara hook. The hatch is above him. If you coordinate this with the push in a perfect time, this could shut everything down. That window player is there. Pressure can be applied to it. The Solarium presence is there. Actually, it's looking very, very likely that the bedroom hatch is going to be it. The observer has also said as well. So what? He's playing nearby the window. This has a lot of opportunity to shut things down. As soon as that really comes up, you're able to find that kill. But you got to get it at a cost. Sandanos on the rappel is going to find the frag. The princess is looking to sit pretty. They've lost a player, and the execute. It's going to take place. It's going to happen, Whip It. I've called it. I've leaked the script.
There it is!
And there it is! He pushes through, but he gets taken out by So What, who finds a second kill as well. Angelo quick with an answer, finding Mr. Joe. Finds So What. Will be taken down low on damage, but still has a player advantage. Zodi with the DMR trusted by replay, but the R4C, it just shoots faster. And suddenly Mr. V is all alone on the side of the princesses and has a retake position.
Well, a very interesting round to say the least. The script got leaked, and now we find ourselves in a post-plan situation. Amaru's no longer with us, but the damage has been done. The MX-5 Storm sending some shots down range, but none to connect, and I think this round is a foregone conclusion in favor of the Chimp Hunters. And, well, there it is. This replay makes very, very swift work of Mr. V. I wonder, was this a clean one-tap? Come on.
It better be.
Oh, yes,
okay.
yes, it was. Okay,
good,
I
yeah.
see you. But, right, one little thing about that round I do want to point out, right? And I think, genuinely, one of the most surprising things I have seen in Siege ever, right? I think this might be a first, and I think it might be a first for both of us. We saw an OXG skin.
Yeah, I've already seen the reactions in chat. Well, you know, that's not important. That's perfectly fine because Chunters, they give themselves another round in front because they had a good strat. They had it coordinated. They said, okay, Atlantic, you're going in the master bedroom hatch. As soon as he was in that kind of west main area, that was the plan. Simply put, we read it, we saw it, and we read into it, and we predicted and leaked the script. But he started walking up there, and suddenly that was the plan from the get-go. You had Solarium presence. You had a player on the window. That's where the refrag came from. Angelo pushed in Solarium. So while they're trying to deal with Atlantic, getting right behind their lines, they're ignoring Angelo just pushing through, finding these kills, and allowing a plan to go down. Very nice execute, very well coordinated, and it definitely is a different round to the one we saw them all sitting in bushes, I guess. And I think, most importantly, that goes to show how this game isn't 100% defender-sided anymore. This map in particular, no, because a good team with good aggression and coordination can just shut everything down. They take you by surprise. You don't know where to look. You'll find a couple of kills, but you won't be able to get the impact that you need. The plank goes down. You're stuck in a horrible position. Now, Chunters, they're just not going to get away with it again. They know it. They haven't brought the Amaru. They brought Habana instead, and that makes a lot more sense.
A sensible choice, perhaps, but guided by the script nonetheless. As we go back to this, 4-3 in favor of the Chimp Hunters. Can they grow their advantage on the offensive side? We know intrinsically this map is a little bit weighted towards it, so can the defense fight back against the odds? It will be a tricky task nonetheless, as entryways instead of library are already there, and air jabs deploy the choke out potential rotations. Will Max, though, on that Valkyrie, downstairs, have a C4 play in mind? Could be a massive impact, but I think creeping up the loose stairs is in the mind of that Valkyrie, but nonetheless we've witnessed an air jab deployed, so that's not going to be too beneficial. And well, looks like Angelo is worried about a Valkyrie camera pinging away and relaying critical information to the defensive side as lots of pressure begins to mount. I think top of K9's now under control. Piano is going to be a very tricky task to take nonetheless, but two bodies queuing up outside to do so. There's only one ADS there to protect the shield. It's not really a lot of use, but that nade itself only takes the ADS with it. And well, Mr. Joe, don't give him more than a pixel to shoot at. His replay is no longer in this fight, as we see Sandanos left in DBNO. I wonder who was able to do that one. As an aggressive swing from Mr. V tries to get that kill, but can't just quite connect as there as Max shows up, uses that C4 to confirm the down on that Nomad. Atlantic fires back, and that's a trade-off as Max D's off the board very rapidly after he made his impact in this round. Atlantic sends more shots down range, but to no avail. Mr. Joe finds his second one as Mr. V battles away, and well, catches a glimpse of a player crossing by K9. An awkward exchange to say the least, but Angelo shuts them down. And now with under a minute left to work with, the Princesses hold a 3-2 advantage in terms of player count. Can Atlantic make that change? An aggressive pick, and oh no! What is this? So what? You had him dead to rights! Oh my! What a turn of events, and now it's a 2 versus 2.
You have got to win those, but unfortunately you didn't. Angelo gets away with it, finding the kill to Mr. V, finding So What and the Princesses. They've been booked on the nose and told to hold your angles. You do not peek. You do not give them that 2-round advantage, and the drone will come through. And suddenly, well, that defender is going to be moving around and saying, well, I don't want to die here. That's not going to happen. That alibi of Mr. Joe will go prone. They know the push is coming down. Time is ticking down into that 10 seconds. 20-second meta isn't there anymore, but the guns are. Atlantic just spots Mr. Joe, but can't commit to it. The Evil Eye, that's going to be able to down it. That wins the round. And Princesses, what the hell was that?
They went off script. They've went off the script. They've gone rogue. We don't know what Princesses are doing anymore. They're not listening to her.
What do I say? No, I've got to be honest. I do want to talk about that positioning from Mr. V. I absolutely loved it. Sat in that goddamn wall. Because as soon as that wall is made, like, simply put, that's why I tend to have the reinforcement wall on the left side. The utility is protected, and you can just get aggressive on the piano hallway. You can put so much pressure on them. You're also drawing them to just look a little bit more shaky. And then as soon as the main wall balcony is actually opened up, well, Mr. V can do exactly this. Just gets aggressive and goes for peaks, and can just sit here safely. Now, Angelo was able to find a kill, but I think this was so much more impressive. So what? Just just stop shooting. Flag went down. Maestro camera, just the time came in. You can't get off that Maestro. You can't get off that plant to stop the Maestro camera. And we saw Zodi knew that. Just went for the down and got it. Really well played from Princesses, but you really just you could have ended it so much earlier if you just played a little tighter.
I think that's probably a good description of this match in general. They are both teams playing a little bit more loose and kind of fluid, perhaps would be a good way of describing it. This is not Princesses at their pinnacle, and I think that's a pretty good asterisk to add to this performance. They're coming out knowing that they're guaranteed either first or second seed, no matter so they're not playing with the conviction you'd expect them to do normally. Yes, they're a strong side. Yes, they have very good players. Oh no. Right, replay got pogmatted. That's unfortunate. On 20 HP. Oh, Max! You could have got 3. Gets number 1. No! He gets 2 inches away from kill number 3. But so what? Gets in on the action and Jello falls. And so rapidly, 45 seconds in the round, we witness a 4 versus 2.
Yeah, the round pretty much summed up with one swing coming up from Max. He was taken down, but most importantly, he found the Ash. He found the Ying, and Angelo got taken away as well. And the big thing about that, simply put, Replay was a standout player. Sandanos, one of these big players that we've seen before, he's going to get taken away as well. All down to Bullet to stop the Princesses from taking the lead for the first time. And a killer onto So What will keep Bullet in it. But you still have a huge mountain to climb. You got time to work with it, but 3 players. And with all the time that takes by the Princesses, that's time they can use to adjust their defense and play together. As you can see right now, there's one player in that dining hall, one player in that area holding the angle in stock, and a player above. What's going to happen now is they're just going to collapse as Bullet tries to take the gunfight, but Zodi's going to win it. The Alder takes that round, and the Princesses take the lead. And, well, you simply got to say, Replay being taken away, you can't allow that as the opening frag. The substitute from Triton trying to do some impact. Just, it's been working. Juntas, they've given a really good game with him at the helm. However, it just, there's times where as soon as he gets taken away, then it just starts to fall apart. Now, I would like to point out something our observer said. Max P, more like Max OT. And, I mean, that is just a gamer moment.
With quips like that, I'm surprised Science has opted to be an off-screening, you know?
How does Science lose our Quiplash game?
I don't know. Whenever we're on a broadcast, he drops absolute fire in our live chat. But in Quiplash, just kind of...
I do want to point out, right? You know Schreikel, the observer, one of the observers, you could too. He got Quiplashed by a bot.
Oh, no.
I think it's important to say that. You were there, I think.
No, I remember what night this was. I went to bed early that night.
He got Quiplashed by a bot. It was rough. But...
Oh my. that is just SI group stage week type
It wasn't
beat.
even we knew. It was simply a case of the bot just had a better answer. Which is even worse, actually. But anyway, getting back to the game. There aren't that many bots in this lobby, but, well... I mean, I'd be the first one to say I'm a bot in this lobby. But Princesses, they're going to be making a lot of sightlines. They're going to be making life as hard as possible for the attackers. They've gone for a very open floor plan. I think they've simply said, well, if we need to retake, here we go. The bulletproof camera, that gives the information, and you just look down there. It just tells you when to swing. The utility keeps you safe. And the Aruni gates, as well as the ADS, that makes it even harder to get that wall open. And this is a kitchen dining site. Replay, though, is going to start us off. And that bulletproof shield, it's going to keep you alive a bit longer than that last round.
Yeah, Mr. Joe, first of all, as production has pointed out, that Sandanos doing a pretty good James Bond impression right now. Really rocking the iconic numbers. So, will the Ash and the Chimp Hunters be able to, make amends for that one and get a promotion as Angelo finds So What and presses the advantage for the offensive side? We've seen these teams, oddly enough, trade rounds back and forth the entire match so far. It's been a pretty competitive match nonetheless, even though we've seen some unusual and, let's just say, quite frankly, absurd strategies being brought out. But they're not giving each other a lot of room to work with. As Mr. V on the top of West Main Stairs sends some shots through a wall after being identified by a drone, doesn't connect. And the other Roni on the field of Max D finds one the bullet. Make that finding 2 as replay's next to go. Santanos is going to be, well, a very important player in this round as Angelo gets one with Zodi. This could be Maxo trying to rotate around. The plant goes down, and while the trade is there, the Ash gets the kill. As the Ash is the first opening kill of this matchup, a critical one nonetheless. 2 versus 1 post-plant situation. Mr. V has some decent information, but well, that Type 96 has some decent RPM and finds the head of Mozzie, tying us up 5 rounds apiece here on Chalet. These teams cannot seemingly be separated by a margin greater than 1, and I'm going to predict overtimes in our very near future.
Yeah, I think that is the case. But, well, Sandanos is on the board, so, I mean, if you're on the Princesses, you might as well forfeit now. Juntas, they're all firing on all cylinders. They're ready to go. The Ash definitely helped, but most importantly, the thing I want to touch upon is that it was an impact kill. It wasn't just a padding stats kill. It was being able to keep that top floor control. Someone playing on the hatch, trying to shut down that plant. You take that away, you give your team a plan. Then it's all down to the other P10 Roni and Mr. V, which just wasn't going to work. Being taken off the board, and Chuntas evening things up. Princesses, this is their second shot to push us to match point, in which they can win it and secure all 3 points. If they don't, and we go to overtime, at the very best, Imperium Amandum can draw level with them. And that is a scary thought if you are the Princesses, who've had such a dominant run so far.
Yeah, Princesses, I think from opening day of season, have looked... What?
Yes. Season 2.
I mean, from opening of this season.
Yeah.
Season
Season 2.
Of this season. Do I need to specify that?
I think you do, yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'm going a little bit, I'm ad-libbing. I'm not reading the script.
Yeah,
know,
just call yourself Princesses, man. Come on.
Yeah, I know. I can't believe it. They're going. But okay, from the start of this season 2, they've looked to be a very dominant team. I think that they've seemingly always been in control, and they've had their moments where they've been beaten, or they've had some upset results against them, going into overtime, dropping points like that. But they've always kind of proven their worth as the top dogs. And while speaking of that, there's Max D popping off yet again, finding Angelos, and right now he's 15 kills on the lobby. 15. Is he trying to go to overtime to get his record broken?
I mean, it would be a very nice way to go into playoffs, but right now, Bullet on the roam is going to be looking to shut that down. Max runs away, sees a couple of traces landing his way, and now he's going to have to take that gunfight, take some damage. Nothing answered in return. If Max D gets taken away, that's a lot of fragging power for Princesses to get removed, but in the grand scheme of things, you look at it, Chuntas, they're going to go for a refrag. They're able to even things up, so what will be taken away? But Max P, right now, you are a linchpin. You're stopping the attackers from collapsing, moving forward, and getting some badly needed vertical control. Max is going to escape with his life. And that's a very important thing. I don't think we even really need to say, because, simply put, Max is a bit of a fragger, in case you haven't noticed. Now, the Jackal scan will come through, but now you know he's on site. You get to the meat and bones of this execute. You get that wall open, you get the utility off the wall, you do it without exposing yourself. And Mr. V has nothing to do but stand by and watch. We've seen him in this position before with the Jaeger. Can he deal any damage with the mute? Time is starting to tick down, but no real pressure on the attackers just yet. They've just got to get themselves into position and start pushing through. Atlantic, if you don't know that Mr. V is here, this can change everything. This can change the comfort of the attackers. Utility will go on the wall, and, well, we're going to see Mr. V looking for a kill. Isn't going to commit, realizes that you've exposed yourself a bit, finds the head of Atlantic. That's a diffuser, take her down. At 50 seconds, well, now the pace has completely changed. Replay, he is sauntering to get up the stairs. He needs to be sprinting, and he's going to start doing it, going past the Jaeger and the wall. And Replay, he's going to put Mr. V in the dirt. A 3 versus 3. 40 seconds left. Max B is holding one staircase, but that's not the staircase to worry about. Piano is going to be where the round is decided. If you lose this piano position, suddenly you can't stop that flank going down, which Mr. Joe is able to do exactly that. Replay will find a refrag, takes away Max P. It's all down to a 2 versus 2. They're pushing in. Mr. Joe still has his piano position. As soon as that's called, he's going to get the kill. He's able to find replay. He just needs to find Sandanos, the Master Chief on 117. But Zodi's off his camera. He's got the gun out. And in a 2 versus 1, you have to favor the 2. Sandanos pushed off of that plant, and Princesses frag their way all the way to match point.
Oh, well, an interesting round yet again, back and forth, but playing aggressively on this main wall breach is something I just love to see, and a wonderful shot of that SMG-11 to find that kill, but credit again to Max being such a potent threat on the defense. See, I believe just on 15 kills still, but still an absolutely stellar performance, and really showing how much of an impact that player can make. So, we move on to Bar and Gaming. This could be the round Princesses take the victory on. Of course, this is the end of regulation. This is round at number 12. If Chimp Hunters can get the victory now, the round win here, they force our hand into overtime. And that means Princesses will be dropping a point even if they get the victory, which could impact their seeding campaign to get that number 1 seed. We now see everything going down to this round, and this is a sight I really love to see. We don't have a mirror input, so that extension into ward stock isn't going to be as potent or as strong as perhaps they would like. But Max, once again, placing a frost mat or a pog mat in that coat check area. He found success with it earlier in the round, or in this matchup. Will lightning strike twice? Unlikely, but at the end of the day, you can never be too sure inside of Siege.
And you can never really count out Max P. And, well, you know, I love that name. Thank you, Sturksy, if you're watching. You ratioed him, and thus you were able to decide his name, and you chose something magnificent. You know, you think of the iconic Siege players. Tengu, Canadian, King George, Kanto Raketti, Joystick, Max P. Siege Hall of Fame. That's all I can say.
I agree. Max gets my vote for the new inductee of the Rainbow Six Siege Hall of Fame.
No, Max P. It has to be Max.
Oh, Max P. Yeah, sorry. They're different people actually.
Yeah, it's one's the evil twin. Anyway, Max P. Not Max T, not to be confused with the Challenge League Observer, a really incredible player. Well, Max P's just as good. Able to find that entry frag onto Atlantic, has to shut down the refrag, but so what is waiting in the wings and finds the kill. Well, the diffuser's down, and the rest of the players are outside. So what's able to find Sandanos and just add on to that kill. He's 1-1-9, and right now, Bullet and Zook, 14 kills between them. Max is still on the board and got 16 by himself. Princesses have control of the diffuser and the entirety of the map at the moment. Chunters haven't moved in. Whippet, this is not looking good, but 2 minutes, it's winnable as long as they take small amounts of map control, isolate the roamers, and take gunfights 2 versus 1.
They're going to have to play super cautiously. They're going to need to play with crossfires and trades at mind, and they do seem to be somewhat isolated and separated from each other. Bullet's trying to hold towards his bookcase on K9, just waiting for anyone to cross in that line of sight as Angelo tries to take a slow approach in via library. A minute 25 to work with, but again, they have to be careful with how they clear this. And remember, the site's downstairs, so what if you get control of office and master bedroom? You have to push in and clear the anchors, and I think Princesses know the potency of their current strategy, and this is what we didn't see in our opening game of the stream. Right now, Bullet's curious and perhaps cautious of this wall, trying to get it open up.
Oh,
Max
no.
gets aggressive, and well, Bullet's indeed, and finished off the second kill of this round for Frost. And existing outside even further, perhaps adding insult to injury, as Mr. Joe pounces on the perhaps distracted Angelo to get the final kill and making it a flawless round number 12 and confirming victory here on Chalet for the Princesses.
Well, in the Princesses, their strat meetings must have been a lot of Stardew Valley, because they've just seated themselves right at the top. And, well, winning that game didn't allow it going to overtime. They basically said, right, well, we've been messing around. Let's get to the very top of this leaderboard. Let's lock in that top spot for the seeding for playoffs, and let's just kind of close things off. You know, our observer Science, he's got to go at, I don't know.
He's got to do science things.
Things, yeah.
What do
like,
observers do when they're not observing?
I don't know. I guess they just play with Bunsen burners, I guess, if it's science, but Anyway, most importantly, instead of dissecting a frog, we're going to dissect what just happened. That was Princesses really just stepping it up. They had Max ready to take that early gunfight because they realized, well, let's play this run game. This is something we barely saw from a number of teams, is positioning themselves over towards that extension and finding those early kills and then just backing up and then just locking down as soon as that happens. They were ready for refrags. So what? Incredible position to cover both the bathroom. So Max didn't even need to take that gunfight. And then the canine door as well. In doing so, well, simply put, they just took the tip right off of the spear. What you're left with is just a blunt stick that you poke in the defenders with, and that's exactly what we saw. Angelo and Bullet. I mean, the Bullet, how do you not win that gunfight? Simply put. But anyway, I digress. The Princesses going up against Chimp Hunters. An entertaining game. A very enjoyable game, no doubt. And, well, Whippet, that's a quite nice way to end out Playday 1, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It was certainly a back and forth matchup. No requirement for OT, as we see Princesses just scooting towards that 2-round advantage at the very end. But that does put them in a great position. Again, I'm not 100% sure of my math, but I think they might actually be safe as our number 1 seed moving into playoffs for this one. So yeah, so that is them punching their ticket to that number 1 seeding. Every little helps, of course, moving to playoffs. So a great position for them to find themselves in. And, well, a nice way to end your regular season. As it started on, and we went to Chalet for their very first appearance, and now, the last one of our regular season, they brought us to Chalet and certainly provided on the entertainment factor.
Yes, however, the entertainment is done for now. We will be back tomorrow with 2 other games to determine the other couple of spots, which I'm looking forward to. Whippet, you'll be joining me, and I believe we're going to have the same production crew running it as well. But speaking of the production crew, Science has been the observer, and as much as I joke, as much as I bully him, remember, off-screen, it goes both ways. He bullies me off-screen, I bully him on-screen. It's beautiful harmony, but he genuinely is such a talented observer, and, you know, we wouldn't have half of the incredible moments and clips that we do without him. Noah makes things look beautiful, and Whippet, well, it's always a pleasure to cast with you and with the Boole University All-Stars Season 2, but we'll be back tomorrow. Make sure not to go anywhere at this time tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Since you left me here, so come home. Why won't you reappear? Things that I said came out totally wrong. Can't speak of the truth when it's tainted. I fell into a big black hole. It got me stone cold. You got me stone cold. You got me stone cold. You got me stone cold. Got me stone cold. No Wizard of Oz can undo what I've done. Completely out of luck this time. I'm stuck in reverse. I gotta get away now, but I can't seem to take the lead. Oh baby, how could I know there was no second chances? Like dominoes, my life got really scattered. Still, I find myself hoping that you'll find your way back to me. 'Cause I've been stone cold since you left me here. So come home. Why won't you reappear? Things that I said came out totally wrong. Can't speak of the truth when it's tainted. I fell